Carol Corrego, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Yo, listen, this is the best wrestler alive, Platinum Max, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Hey everybody, Eric Bischoff here, and you are listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast.
This is the original The Blue Meanie, and you're watching and listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast.
We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check them out, man.
Stay tuned, listen to the podcast. Best one, Donnie might teach you a thing or two.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
We Are Wrestling.
All right, Chris Jericho here, and we're going to listen to and watch We Are Wrestling.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Mavis. And the facts are, I steal all my information from right here. We Are Wrestling.
Everywhere I go, there's nowhere I belong. And anyone should tell me where we are. 'Cause everywhere I go,
the grind is real.
What's going on, guys? Dan Eddy here. We are Wrestling Predictions Champion. Here, Donnie was a man of his word, and he said this.
Yeah, man, you are officially the new We Are Wrestling Predictions Champion.
Let's go.
Dan Eddy now is officially, guys, a two-time champion.
This time
around, he's not going to have the toy title because
Two-time.
him and we already talked about this, and I'm going to be sending out the title to him. So it'll be in his possession.
So, yeah, I got my title back right here. Let's go ahead and open it, shall we? Came in the mail, so I want to check it out and show it off to you guys. I have a plan for it. So let's check this out here. Damn, Donnie, got enough tape on here, dude? Dang. Wow. Dude. Ooh-wee. Damn. We are wrestling. I am the two-time. Oh. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This feels right. Thank you, Donnie. And as your current We Are Wrestling Prediction Champion, I'm going to say good luck, because you're never going to get this back, guys. Danny Huckins, eat shit. Good luck. Rage, welcome back. Glad to have you back. Good luck. Best one, Donnie. Best one to third best one this past SummerSlam. And I don't know. We'll see. I got a good place for this belt. I think I'm just going to leave this here right now. Oh, yeah. This is the other shoulder. Just so you guys can see it on both of my shoulders. This feels right. Oh, yeah.
I am already sick of his fucking title run.
Bro, we need to get that belt back.
We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here with...
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 or 1/4 of the We Are Wrestling podcast back here. It's been a little bit since I've been on the show. And Dan Eddy is already pissing me the fuck off, man. So,
well, you didn't like that he told you to eat shit?
Guy gets lucky once, and fucking that's the end of the world. You know, he turns into fucking Roman Reigns or something.
Well, he needs to come up with his own shit, because I was the one that started the whole eat shit. So, Dan Eddy, you need to stop trying to be a copy champion. But don't worry, somebody will get that title back. And the next time he defends it will be our Money in the Bank predictions, which will be happening in just a couple months. But what is up, We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there? We got a lot of you here in the live chat. showing some love. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to this episode, wherever you get your podcast, leave us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download this episode. And of course, give We Are Wrestling a follow. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, so much additional content, including the free video version of the live We Are Wrestling podcast experience that happens every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. There's no Patreon. There's no paid wall behind this. This is on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. And of course, if you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, videos and live streams be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real.
The grind is real, man.
The grind is real.
We got the voice, or the former voice of the faithful, in the chat. My fucking guy, Phil, man. The AEW Thunder champion.
The AEW, the We Are Wrestling Thunder champion. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if AEW had a Thunder title, because they do have a lot of championships.
Bro, AEW has so many fucking titles. It just fucking like goes through one ear and out the other, you know? Every single title on the planet belongs to AEW at this point.
That's right, but we got a lot of maniacs here. We got Dakota. Happy Wednesday, everyone. The grind is real. You got that right. We got Nathaniel. I grew up a huge Edge Adam Copeland fan. So glad to see him return to wrestling in 2020. Still going strong in 2026. We will be talking about that in our weekly news and rumors. Alex Johnson, what's up, everybody? I'm a loyal We Are Wrestling maniac and the #1 Liv Morgan fan. And I acknowledge Donnie as my tribal chief. Well, I appreciate you acknowledging me. Dan Eddie's calling me number 3. I don't appreciate that, because government name, I am a 3rd. Oh, man. And of course, we do have the pin message here in the live chat. If you guys haven't gone over to Pro Wrestling Tees, go get yourself a We Are Wrestling shirt. We put the link in there. So go get yourself a shirt, because what the hell are you doing? We still got good weather. Also, we got Angelo in here, nice and shiny. ILJA will be signed with AEW. Just need Tony Khan to do the
Continental with ILJA, say less.
Probably will happen, but we'll talk about that in our main event topic for this week. I'm surprised there isn't a Don Callis family title yet.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, man.
Could happen at All In. Maybe
Don Callis family is turning into fucking NWO when literally almost everybody on the WCW roster had some kind of an affiliation with NWO. Phil said that AEW cannot afford him, so I mean, I actually 100% agree to that statement.
And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, old school Phil is going to fill you in at some point in the show. He did pay us some pretty good money, so we have no choice but to play his videos every week when he sends them in. But, of course, we got to start things off with the We Are Wrestling podcast, Power of the Poll, every week over in the We Are Wrestling community tab on the YouTube channel. Every Thursday in the morning time, we post a brand new Power of the Poll for you fans to go vote. We give you 1 week, and we're going to take things to the amateur mat, because we asked you guys last week, who's the best amateur pro wrestling tag team in the business? And the 4 options you guys had were the Steiner Brothers, the world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin, American Alpha, Jason Jordan, Chad Gable, or the Creed Brothers. And here are the results for this week's Power of the Poll. The Steiner Brothers with 65%, while 16% of you went with the world's greatest tag team, 14% went with American Alpha, and only 5% went with the Creed Brothers. Daddy, I gotta ask you, man, do you agree with this week's Power of the Poll?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, and I feel like this is one of the power of the polls that's sort of like it all depends on the area you grew up in. You know what I mean? So like if you grew up in like the Ruthless Aggression, you're gonna pick Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. If you grew up in like, you know, if you just started watching WrestleMania or WWE around WrestleMania 40, then you're gonna be really infatuated with the Creed brothers and what they have done, especially in NXT, because you know Triple H doesn't know how to book them on WWE Raw. And the Steiner brothers, you know, they tore it up back in the early 90s and the late 80s, you know, as a tag team. And then obviously we, you know, big pump Scott Steiner and, you know, the dog face gremlin. So it's all, I feel like this is one of those ones that's just all subjective. It's all about like what you grew up watching and what you have, you know, if you have nostalgia ties to it.
And that is why in this week's Power of the Poll, it wasn't based off who is the best. The question was, what's your favorite amateur wrestling tag team? So it is based off eras. I do agree with you on that. And I am surprised that we did get 65% with the Steiner brothers. So that does tell you that we do have quite some old school fans here, and that wrestling history still lives on, which I love.
Bro, why does Scott Steiner look so much like Patrick Swayze when he was fucking like teaming up with his brother? It's just he does not look like the same one that has the fucking like the goatee and the fucking sunglasses and the, you know,
the
Steiner mask, brother.
Dude, a complete 180 with Scott Steiner. Like, just like Dirty Dominic Mysterio, I feel like he had that transition. And I think him, like, cutting that mullet off, which was a nice mullet, by the way, Scott Steiner, I think was the best thing he ever did for his career.
Well, I mean, they've always had hair. They just always had short hair. Scott Steiner had short blonde hair with the fucking goatee and the fucking sunglasses and the fucking the thing on his fucking the headgear or whatever that he used to wear. Yeah, that's the Scott Steiner I know, man. I was not watching when Scott and his brother were teaming up. So,
but like looking at the poll results here, like I do agree. I think they really hit the nail on the head on each one of them. The Creed brothers are very talented in NXT. There's a reason why we went with their NXT tag title promo picture and not their main roster. But they're going against 3 elite tag teams here. American Alpha, they were very successful during the Black and Gold NXT days. And I think a lot of people forget how talented Jason Jordan was, because it's been a while since he stepped away from the ring due to injury. World's Greatest Tag Team, Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin. It was one of those tag teams that you didn't really appreciate in real time.
Especially when Kurt
everybody
Angle
wanted Shelton
managing them.
And especially with Shelton, everybody wanted the man to be Intercontinental Champion, eventually World Champion, which never happened. So I think it was just one of those, too good, for its time. And then the Steiner brothers, of course, bringing the amateur wrestling to the old school tag teams. It was the perfect gimmick for that new gen era, or golden era. So I think them getting to 65%, definitely well-deserved.
Especially that era of pro wrestling will never be fucking duplicated.
But I think American Alpha, dude, is so underrated.
I want to highlight this comment because I really do like this method of the way that Alex did this. Before I voted for the poll, I watched highlights of each team, and after watching the highlights, I voted for the Steiner brothers. I kind of do recommend if we ever do a power of the poll and you're not familiar with certain people or whatever, I definitely recommend before voting, watch highlights of some of their matches or whatever, so you can, get a little bit more familiar with them. So,
and that's the thing. I say this every week here on the We Are Wrestling podcast before we do move on to our TV recap. I do always recommend the Maniacs to go and do the research. Go back and watch. That's the whole point of these Power of the Polls, is to really go back into time and really get to appreciate the history. Because some might say, oh, the history is dead. It is what it is. No, not in professional wrestling. It's not. So that's why we give you guys 1 week to vote. I make this graphic every Thursday morning around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you have until then to cast your vote. A whole week we give you. So Danny and Alex Johnson are absolutely right. Go and watch, go do that research. But congratulations to the Steiner brothers on being the favorite amateur wrestling tag team. But of course, next week's Purple Power of the Poll is up, and it's going to be All In Week. So of course, we had to ask you guys an AEW question, and we're asking you next week the best AEW Day 1 signing. And the 4 choices we have are Hangman Adam Page, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, or MJF.
I don't know if I'm gonna be here next week. I don't know like what the rotation is gonna be for the show. I don't know if like Ben's gonna be here next week or whatever.
I feel like if you are free, it should be you, because I do think we should do all in predictions. I think.
Well, in case I'm not, I will give my answer on this, just in case I'm not here next week. MJF, hands down. Like Kenny Omega, cool. You know, he made his name in Japan or whatever. You know, Hangman, again, made his name on the Indies. Jericho made his name in WCW, WWE, ECW. You know, now he's in AEW. I feel like the best day 1 signing that has become champion was MJF, because before AEW, he wasn't really known, you know, on a global scale or whatever. But like, think of everything that the dude's accomplished, like not even just in pro wrestling, but outside. Like, you know, he's been in Adam Sandler movies. He's, you know, transcending past pro wrestling into Hollywood, red carpets, you know, talk shows, stuff like that. Like, has AEW really, and I brought this conversation up a lot because I personally feel like it should be Ospreay versus MJF instead of Ospreay versus Omega at All In. And people, you know, people don't like my opinion on that. But like, name a bigger star that AEW currently has that's a day 1 guy bigger than MJF. You can't.
You know me, I can't. You know I can't. MJF's my favorite wrestler right now, currently.
But like, not even just in wrestling. Like the dude, like if you watch movies, you know him because of like his acting stuff. Like,
oh, of course,
he goes past pro wrestling.
You're spot on with everything you're saying here. But I do feel like the reason why AEW is not running the main event of MJF versus Will Ospreay for the World Championship is because we did get that match a couple years back at All In. So I don't think that they want to run it back as a main event.
But I mean, think of how many times we've had Kenny Omega versus Ospreay. So like, there's an argument for that as well.
We've never gotten that on a big scale.
They did it at fucking Wrestle Kingdom, bro. One of the biggest fucking New Japan shows on the planet.
Okay, but we're not talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're talking about All Elite Wrestling. And honestly, if you are having a WrestleMania-styled pay-per-view, I do think that you got to have Kenny versus Ospreay. I don't like the way MJF lost the championship. I think that there could have been 1,000 other ways you could have booked that better. But I do feel like it was the right call to give Ospreay versus Omega for All In, because I do think that that right there is a blockbuster match that is clearly doing great in ticket sales, because right now, as we're recording this live on a Thursday, August 20th, I believe they have sold more than 40,000 tickets, which I think is already better than the previous year that they were in Wembley. But I do think MJF should not be in a call your shot casino gauntlet. Same with Andrade. I think what they should do, and then we'll get into the show, the topics and stuff. Just a quick thought. I think that it should be Andrade versus MJF in a number 1 contenders match. Winner at All In gets the title shot for the World Championship. I think we should be getting a one-on-one match, Andrade, MJF, and I do believe that that's probably going to be what happens, because I think in the match, somebody's going to win, and it's not going to be MJF or Andrade. Unless Andrade wins, MJF costs him, but I do think that there is a potential good storyline between both guys.
There is. I was just like, my mind thinking going into like,
hey, but at least that match is going to be important because you got like big names in there.
With the show being this big, right? There's probably going to be a couple people at least that have never watched AEW. They don't know anything about it. They don't know any of the stars or whatever. But they seen MJF in a fucking Netflix movie. They seen him on the red carpet. They're familiar with him. I feel like that would have brought more attention to the Ospreay match. It would have meant more for Ospreay to beat somebody on the level of MJF. Kenny Omega is great. He's phenomenal. So is Ospreay. But like they can more on a regular basis, they could probably walk down the street and nobody knows who they are. Somebody like MJF, I think that's the complete opposite.
You see, I'm not going to say that because they're during WrestleCon conventions with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay.
Bro, that's a wrestling centered thing. I'm talking about like if Ospreay just walks out of his house and decides to go to fucking Dunkin' Donuts or something on just a random Wednesday or a random Tuesday or random Saturday. Like he might get stopped once or twice, but you know, he's not really at that level. He doesn't transcend past pro wrestling. So if there's somebody that's watching the show for the very first time, they're going to be interested because it's going to be cool to see what they do, but they're going to be like, well, I have no invested interest in what I'm seeing.
But I do think, like, with MJF, it shouldn't be a call your shot battle royal, even though it does make it feel important because you have two guys. You have both MJF and Andrade, who they're putting a lot of stock into. But I do firmly believe that they should have had a marquee match, one-on-one, at the biggest show of them all in. I think that would have been the right call. I don't think MJF necessarily needed to be in the main event, but I think him and Andrade, like, he should have had a solid singles match against a top guy. I think that that's more important than a call your shot battle royal where you know they're going to throw a bunch of random people in there as fillers.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
But next week's Put the Power of the Poll, you can cast your vote, go back down that AEW rabbit hole, and answer the question, who is the best AEW Day 1 signing? And I think on the We Are Wrestling Pod, you already know all of our answers when it comes to this. But a couple things we do need to talk about before we get into the topics that we have for this week's show. We Are Wrestling is Unreal shirts available now, ProWrestlingTees.com. It is the pinned post in the live chat. So if you haven't got yourself a We Are Wrestling shirt, what the hell are you doing? Go do that right now. Also, We Are Wrestling is going to be in the house in Springfield, Mass. for the Wrestling Classic on Saturday, October 24th at the Zombie Hideout store. And oh man, we got a couple names that have been confirmed for the Classic. Premium Signatures is going to be bringing in former Ruthless Aggression WWE superstar Heidenreich. And Captain's Corner is going to be bringing in the Young Stallions, Mario, and WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana. Also at the Classic has been confirmed as well. Zombie Hideout's going to be bringing in Gail Kim, TNA Knockout Hall of Famer, and WWE ring announcer Lillian Garcia. So if you are looking for something to do and you're in the Western Mass area on Saturday, October 24th, come out to the Wrestling Classic. 7, We Are Wrestling will be in the house. Will be a vendor.
Oh, look what Phil said.
Hold on a minute. And, of course, we'll be bringing somebody in as well, and that will be coming out pretty soon. And Phil is working on someone huge for the Classic as we speak. And I have been helping Phil out a little bit too, and he's been giving me the insights, but we're gonna keep that behind closed doors. And when the reveal happens, maybe we'll do it here live on the pod. Because Thursdays are for the Classic, and they usually do put announcements. So if you want to stay up to date with everything Wrestling Classic related, go follow Captain's Corner, go follow Zombie Hideout over on Facebook. And there's more information there. And of course, here on the pod, we'll keep you guys up to date because we literally have 7 different vlogs, all from each Wrestling Classic. So if you guys want to see what the Wrestling Classic is all about and you're kind of contemplating whether or not you want to come, go check those vlogs out. We have a whole playlist. I think it's must watch. All right.
Absolutely. Well, it's always fun, man. Last year getting to hang out with Blue Meanie.
All right. Well, before we get into things, nice little plug. Speaking of vlogs, if you haven't checked out the Fanatic Fest vlogs from this past year, part day 1, day 2, and day 3, there's some more snackable premium content on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. And for this week's episode, this is the lineup that we do have here. So for our TV recap, we're going to be talking about the TNA lockdown stipulation between Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander for the X Division Championship. We're going to be talking about the Chelsea Green and Gunter and Matt Cardona segment that happened on SmackDown. And of course, we're going to go to Monday Night Raw, the Red Brand, Solo Sikoa, Twistin, and turning on the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Zilla Fatu's first promo on NXT this past Tuesday, and him being added to the triple threat, making it a fatal four-way at NXT Heatwave for the NXT Championship. And then on Dynamite, we're going to be talking about the Darby Allin Pyro incident, because going into All In, we got Kevin Knight defending the TNT belt against Darby. And then in our weekly news and rumors, we have 3 topics we're going to be discussing. The first being Bronson Reed's transformation, because it looks like we got some updates on him possibly coming back pretty soon to WWE TV. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about Adam Copeland's interview and him announcing that he wants to retire in All Elite Wrestling and not WWE. And then, of course, Paul Heyman, always making some controversial hot takes. And he pretty much said, we don't listen to the audience, we listen to the shareholders. And Ricochet, defending AEW, said, we don't care for the shareholders, we listen to the fans. And then our main event topic this week, this news just came out earlier today, and we think it's main event worthy. ILJA Dragunov, former WWE United States champion, is no longer with WWE. So it was a very slow week. I didn't know how this was going to go, but then we got hit with ILJA Dragunov news, and all of a sudden, it's a stacked episode. So, with that being said, well, we can't get into the TV recap just yet because I forgot. Old school Phil, he just sent the money in, which means it's time for Phil to fill us in. And I'm sure this is going to be a response to Rod Money, so we might as well play Rod Money's video from last week. I'm sure Phil's not going to be happy with that, but we do need to keep the fans up to date, so here we go.
Because this is mine.
Let me tell you something, buddy. Old school Phil. Yeah, I know all about you. And just because you be running wrestling promotions does not mean that you got all the answers and that you got all the outcomes to every match. Hold my title and keep it warm. It's coming home to daddy. Your predictions, they don't count no more. The only answer that you need to be worrying about is Rob Money, no James Jones. I grab the Thunderbelt and go straight home. Know that. I am wrestling. You better ask about me.
This message goes out to Rod Money. Doesn't he have a cute bedroom? It's so cute, isn't it?
Let me tell you something, buddy.
Let me fill you in on something, Rod. Just because you have a banner with your name on it behind your head to make yourself feel relevant and try and remind people who you are, because no one knows who you are, but it's good that you have something on your wall to remind yourself of who you are, because by the time this is over, you're just going to be irrelevant again. But congratulations. You're going to have 5 minutes of relevancy when I whoop your ass at predictions again. When I won my Thunder Championship, I predicted 10 out of 12 outcomes, and 2 of which were changed during the match itself. And that means I predicted better than the We Are Wrestling guys themselves. So, I'll just leave that there too. But Rod, if you want to make a rap song about this that you can put on YouTube and hope for 40 views, that's fantastic. So what I suggest is this. Why don't you and I go all in? AEW's all in, Rob. You call yourself a rapper. Spotify calls you no results found. Let me fill you in one more time, Rob. You have no chance.
It's time for the We Are Wrestling Podcast weekly TV recap. And whoo! Phil laying out the challenge to Rod Money. How do you feel about this little rivalry that's happening right now in the We Are Wrestling universe?
I just feel extremely privileged and honored knowing the fact that there's better storytelling on our podcast than in 2 of the biggest pro wrestling companies on the planet. I need to see this matchup between these 2, man. Put it in a cage, put a barbed wire around the ring. We need to see some crazy shit happen between Rob Money and Phil.
Well, we're going to find out later on in the show if Rod Buddy does accept or not. Maybe he will send in a video. Who knows? Because anything can happen when you're live. Tyrus here in the live chat says Rod Buddy is hungry for the title. It seems like he is pretty hungry. He seems focused. He seems determined. I think he got that hunger because he was holding the We Are Wrestling World's Predictions Champion at an indie show that we went to a while back.
I think somebody should give the mic to Rod Money and Phil and put them on Monday Night Raw and let them go to town and let them cook.
Let them cook. I agree. But Phil laying out the challenge. The question is, will Rod Buddy accept? But now, with that being said, it's time to get into our TV recap. Every week here on the We Are Wrestling Pod, we pick 5 TV things to recap and talk about because there's way too much wrestling on TV. So the best way to do it is break it down into 5 categories. So we're going to start off with last Thursday on TNA Impact. Leon Slater challenged Cedric Alexander of the System for the X Division Championship. Cedric Alexander agreed to give Leon Slater a rematch for the X Division Championship, but if Cedric wins, here is the stipulation. Leon's X Division title reign will no longer be recognized by TNA. The title history will officially recognize the title moving from Moose to Cedric Alexander with a period of inactivity during Leon's reign. Amazing Red would once again be recognized as the youngest champion, and Austin Aries would be the sole holder of the record for being the longest reigning X Division champion. I want to know your thoughts on this stipulation.
I actually think that's extremely creative. Like you,
what?
I honestly really do.
No, you don't. You're fucking trolling right now.
I'm not trolling. Like, it's predictable as hell. Like, I don't think, Cedric's gonna win. But like, have we ever had this kind of a stipulation in pro wrestling before?
No, we haven't. But we've had things pretty close to this, and the only promotion that does things like this is literally who we're talking about right now, and it's TNA. Are you out of your fucking mind?
It's predictable.
It's stupid. It's fucking stupid. Oh, so if Cedric wins the match, we're going to totally forget Leon's run. Literally, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, acknowledged him when he won the championship. That was one of the highest viewed things that TNA Wrestling has had.
That's why he's not going to lose. That's why
but the stipulation, though.
It's... I never see it on TV, so it's new to me.
If you think shit WWE and AEW are doing are stupid, and you think that this is creative, there is something deeply wrong with you.
All right, I don't think it's creative. I think it's new.
Lazy.
I think it's something
fucking
new.
lazy.
I think it's something new. You know what's lazy?
Lazy.
Literally every single thing about the build for AEW All In. That's what you call lazy.
Yeah, they still have freaking more. They put more effort into at least a couple of the fucking matches than this.
I just think it's new. It's something that we don't see on a regular basis. We never ever see it. So I just think it's new, which is a good thing. And at least they're trying. They're trying.
TNA has to break it down into 4 different fucking categories. That's the part that blows my mind here. The first bracket, Leon's X Division title reign will no longer be recognized by TNA. What the fuck? You really think that people are still going to, like, when he makes it to the WWE or AEW, in his career, people are going to totally forget that this man was an X Division champion? You can't erase history.
He's not gonna lose.
People still talk about. People try to erase Chris Benoit, but people still talk about that triple threat match as the main event of WrestleMania 20. They don't talk about Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero.
Getting worked up over nothing, bro. He's not losing, so like he's still gonna be recognized, on all those accolades when it comes to the X Division champion. What I'm saying is, it's new. It's not something that we see.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's why we don't see
it may be stupid.
Oh,
it may be, and I'm
imagine
not.
the feds.
And I'm not
Imagine
100%
t-shirt company
disagreeing
did
with that.
this. Oh,
But
everybody would be giving them shit.
it's new. That's why I like it, because we never see stipulations like this. It's new. It's something fresh. They're trying new things. They're not just fucking just doing the same if you lose the match, you lose the title, or vice versa, whatever.
Okay, but I think it just would have been better.
New.
But I don't think like the whole history thing had to be a thing here. Like I think that you could have.
They're
just gotten
trying
away
to
with,
amp it up.
If Leon loses, maybe he's not allowed to go after the exhibition title.
Bro, it's marketing. They're trying to build interest for the match.
They're just trying to build negative headlines. That's what
they're
to do.
building interest for the match. They want to legitimately see if they're stupid enough to legitimately, take all these accolades away from Leon Slater.
And remind you, this is the company that Mike Santana in the main event of Slammiversary in New York, in New York, Trick Williams beats him.
And so now look how big of a star Trick Williams is.
Okay, but that didn't benefit anything in TNA. Waiting for Santana to win at
Bro,
Down
it's
for Glory.
new. It's all about marketing, man. It's all about marketing. They're trying to build interest for this match. There are compared to WWE and AEW, they're very, very, very small company.
You know what I'm interested in when it comes to this match? The outcome being Cedric retaining the championship and them trying to erase Leon Slater's history of being X Division champion because the contract is coming up. So they probably want to try to erase all the things that he did because there has been rumors and speculations that Leon might actually not be going to WWE and he might be going to AEW.
Which is kind of
And I think if there's a company that would pull something this stupid, it would be total nonstop action. And I love TNA. I'm a TNA kid.
Bro, look at us. This is exactly what they want. We're here arguing. I think it's a half decent idea.
Well, to be honest with you, you're not arguing.
But
I'm the one arguing because I hate your opinion.
You hate my opinion, that's fine, but it's fresh, it's new, and it's all about marketing. They're building interest for this match. They want to build interest. They need the pay-per-view buys. They need people to watch this. That's how you make money in a company.
Yeah. If Leon does not win, this is fucking stupid.
He is gonna win, but they're still trying to build interest in the match. That's why we're here on a fucking Thursday at 6:40 p.m. talking about it. They're building interest. They're using assholes like us to sell their fucking show.
And to be fair, I will agree to a consent because I don't remember the last time on a TV recap we did talk about TNA wrestling.
Exactly. This is what they want. They're using assholes
it's
like
still
us on the
fucking
internet.
stupid. Like you said, this is creative. That's the part I disagree.
All right. With. At first, I thought it was, but I still think it's fresh and new. It's something that we don't ordinarily see. I like it. It kind of does interest me a lot more. And so, as somebody that doesn't watch the TNA shows ever, just because I don't know when they're taped and when they're live, whatever. I don't like watching tape shows at all. But I will be going live on Sunday for lockdown. So this, my interest level has peaked. As somebody that doesn't watch TNA, I'm excited to see what they do.
And I can't believe you're more excited about this than anything that AEW All In is doing. That blows my mind. That right there, my brain's exploding. But I do want to read.
That's because TNA does something. TNA does something more than what AEW currently does. And
what
WWE.
Do they do? Please tell me.
They're more into storytelling than matches. AEW, it just seems like they're throwing matches on this all-in card because it's gonna get a Dave Meltzer 5-star. It's gonna be a really good match. Motherfucker, tell me a fucking story. Get me emotionally invested in what I'm seeing on my TV. AEW and TK have yet to fucking do that with anything that's going on in the fucking AEW all-in build. I don't give a shit what anybody has to say about it.
I will say one comment to that. Yes, TNA is more in the room with WWE when it does come to storytelling, when it comes to the storylines. But let's be honest, since the AMC deal, besides the Hardys and the Righteous, because I have tried watching TNA wrestling, and I still continue to support them. I will watch highlights of people I do like that are signed with the promotion.
You want to know what else they've done to build up excitement?
Though,
anything that might
they focus on the storytelling, yet I feel like they haven't done anything to really get over the hump and to get people really invested. Meanwhile, AEW has made it clear that their number one priority is the professional wrestling, the art in the ring, because they are trying to treat it like a combat sport. They are trying to treat it like New Japan Pro Wrestling and focusing on the wrestling matches. Is that a lot of people's philosophies on what they like in pro wrestling? No. But even when AEW does the storylines, they still are able to get people invested and interested. So far, TNA has not done a big storyline to get the people that are trying to get back into TNA to tune in every week. Maybe
I'm actually really invested in the Hardys and Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth story, and they're going to be.
Are you invested are you invested in that to the extent of last year's All In, Hangman versus Jon Moxley for the championship? Because that was a long-term storytelling that they did there, with Hangman getting his moment and getting that championship out of that briefcase, and Jon Moxley being billed as this dictator during the Death Riders era, which, yes, we hated in time.
Yeah, the dictator that he's going to, ladies and gentlemen, Jon Moxley is going to be here to take over TBS. All he did was get in the fucking ring with a microphone and cut a half-ass promo.
But then also the first All In, MJF and Adam Cole, their storyline, that got so many people invested. So
MJF
like, TNA
and
has
Adam
not gotten
Cole
to that level
legitimately
yet.
had a story going into their match. Adam Cole revealed himself.
Hi, Layla.
Adam Cole revealed himself, turning on MJF. Like, there was a long term.
But I'm talking about their biggest show. They still have done big storylines to get people invested, those on and off fans. TNA, I feel like since the AMC deal, like, they do have some solid they have great matches, and I think like the Slammiversary pay-per-view was fantastic. I was there. But I don't think that they've had one storyline that has really brought me over the top to really get me excited to tune in to Thursday Night Impact.
Anything that had Mike Santana, anything that had the Hardys and the Righteous, anything that had Nick Nemeth.
Okay, but those are individuals. I'm talking actual.
Any of the I will say, and I literally just
like SummerSlam,
admitted
we had
it.
Roman and Seth.
That was a long-term story. That was probably the best match of the entire weekend. Like the fucking Cody and Punk match was fucking ass in the grand scheme of things. Like, it wasn't anywhere near.
I know, but I'm talking about storylines, taking things over the top. But we got Rage here, one of our co-hosts on the pod, who just came back last week. Shout out to him. I come in for 5 seconds and I hear Danny yelling and both call interrupting each other. That's what you get with the best one, Donnie, in a Danny Huckins episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly,
it's war.
man.
It's war.
This motherfucker over here thinking he's fucking boss.
Well, let's see what some of the maniacs are here saying about the whole Cedric and Leon thing, and then we'll move on because we do have more topics to talk about. Tyrus, that's stupid if they made this stipulation so Amazing Red would keep the record. Alex Johnson, it's a dumb stipulation. Angelo, I'm surprised you don't like it, Donnie. Wow, that's pretty nice of you to say. They don't even put effort into Ospreay versus Omega. I thought the segment last night was fantastic between the two.
I heard that was the only decent thing on Dynamite last night. I haven't yet to see it,
I
though.
heard Mercedes and Willow's been picking up a lot of momentum, too. JD did say that was pretty good. But, Alex, I'm on Donnie's side on this. Tyrus, the fact that we are talking about it in denial means the promo didn't sell.
So the way you're talking about in detail.
In detail, okay. The fact that we're talking about in detail means the promo did it sell. Technically, like, you actually could say that, because I know a lot of people, and I use this reference a lot of the times, a lot of people, a casual person that maybe walks into my shoot job that knows I have a wrestling podcast, that I'm a huge wrestling fan, a lot of the times I hear from the casual, I hate Gunter. He sucks. Yeah, no shit. He's a heel. You're supposed to think he sucks. I don't like that he freaking bear hugs his opponents and puts them to sleep. He's a heel. So maybe in this case, they got me pissed off and Cedric's doing his job. But at the same time, I still think that this is fucking stupid and it's going to go down as one of the stupidest things. TNA's done, and they've done a lot of stupid things, and I love that promotion to death. But they've done stupid shit. Look at that. Layla's got her We Are Wrestling hoodie on because she's cold as fuck. Which, hey, if you guys want to go get yourself a We Are Wrestling shirt, you can do that on ProWrestlingTees.com. But let's move on now to something that I hope you and I both enjoyed. We're going to get back into WWE. Last Friday on SmackDown, Chelsea Green almost had to relinquish her championship, but Nick Aldis decided to give her 30 days to heal her injury, and then we got the ring general coming out, interrupting her, to then Matt Cardona, Chelsea Green's real-life husband, coming in, attacking Gunter, Gunter making some remarks, calling him a dog, and then they pretty much had like an unsanctioned match. What was your thoughts on the opening for SmackDown here? Because it was a little different this week.
It was different, and I really liked it. At first, when, it's, especially when reports come out or whatever that, WWE's might have Chelsea Green relinquish the title. And then you start off a show with Nick Aldis in the ring. You're like, oh my God, this is not a good thing. I liked it. I liked how they sort of like took what everybody was saying on social media and just totally like flipped it on everybody's heads. Like, oh, WWE is dumb enough to do this, but oh wait, we're gonna put a stop to that and we're gonna revert and go and do something else. I like that. Chelsea Green went from just this average mid-carder, who has probably more personality than 90% of the women on TV, to overnight being one of the biggest, hottest baby faces in the fucking industry. Like, bro, she was getting yes chants. Like, that entire crowd was behind her 100%. And if there's nobody on this fucking planet that deserves this more than Chelsea Green. Agreed. Like, looking at everything that she's been through, and she talked about it, like, a lot of the horrible segments that WWE has had her do, put her face in, in cake and this and that and all, just everything. And now she's finally gotten to that level to where, she's always dreamed of, but she's always been told, oh, you're good for this, and you're not necessarily ever going to be able to reach these kind of heights.
There's nothing like the underdog story in pro wrestling.
Chelsea Green, man, like I'm telling you, man, like I don't even, like, I don't want to fucking sound like I don't want to sound weird and fucking sound like I'm glazing her too much or whatever, but like, she is absolutely fucking phenomenal. And you can 100% build the SmackDown division around her because of how likable she is. And this sort of ties in. We can sort of bring it up a little bit. Later on in the night, we had Tiffany Stratton drop the U.S. title. And Chelsea Green was out there. And I feel like...
Jane.
Yep, JC Jane. Fatal Influence doing their thing. I fucking love them on the main roster.
SmackDown's cooking.
Tiffany Stratton is gonna blame Chelsea Green for this, and I feel like this is gonna turn Tiffany Stratton into a mega heel.
Needs to happen,
bro. Whenever you see like these movies or TV shows about high school, whatever, you always see the cute little blonde chick or whatever that hangs out with like the football team, whatever, like, the jocks. And, she's like the head, cheerleader. Yeah. You have the nerdy kids that always have a crush on her or whatever. Yeah. And like, bro, she has that personality. She's got the blonde hair. She's got the look. She's got, it's Tippy time. Like,
she was also doing that a lot too in NXT as well.
Yes.
And it worked. She was one of the best heels. Like,
it does not work as a babyface,
out of the men too.
It does not work as a babyface.
Agree.
So she going after Chelsea Green
Money.
She is gonna be a mega fucking heel, man, and
Fucking
it's gonna
money.
be phenomenal. Like this is gonna be the start of something really, really, really fucking cool. As long as WWE capitalizes on it and does what they need to fucking do.
I 100% agree with you, and I'm going to pretend you never said the whole Leon and Cedric thing was creative, because everything you said here was spot on, and I couldn't agree more. I can't argue with anything you said here as well. I think Chelsea winning the championship, this needed to happen for the culture. Needed to happen. And she proved in one promo why they put the strap on her, why they need to build this entire roster on SmackDown around her. Because it doesn't matter if she gets a 10-minute match. It doesn't matter if she gets a 10-second Royal Rumble elimination or getting cake in her face or getting thrown in the dumpster, a 30-second backstage interview. She capitalizes on every moment she gets. And that's what I loved about this promo. It came straight from the heart. Didn't feel like we were reading a script word by word. It came from the heart. There was passion behind the words that she was speaking. And that's what I want in my world champion. That's why going into WrestleMania 40 a couple years ago, everybody was behind Cody Rhodes finishing his story. Because that was a moment we wanted to see. And this is a moment for years that I've wanted to see with Chelsea Green. Because I've been such a big fan of her going all the way back to freaking Tough Enough. I remember when she was competing on Tough Enough, before the whole Impact Wrestling doing the whole Laurel Van Ness character. I remember, I am so happy for all her success. And honestly, this one promo has outshined 100+ days of Liv Morgan being champion. Is that Liv Morgan's fault? No. That's creative's fault. Because they didn't have a plan B, C, D, E, all the way to Z. Because of Stephanie's injury. But Chelsea, in this one promo, this interaction with Nick Aldis, got her instant babyface reaction, and it gave her a purpose to why she's the champion. And honestly, if I were WWE, let's just forget Rhea Ripley was ever the champion at this point. Take that interim title out and just let Chelsea be the champ, because I have not been invested in this championship in a very, very long time, up until this past Friday on SmackDown. Well, SummerSlam, her climbing the ladder, grabbing the gold.
Yep. And the realism inside the promo as well. Her literally saying, it doesn't matter what they think about us. It matters what we think of us. And that was a nod to Michael Hayes, because on Unreal, he was like, well, we don't see Chelsea Green as world champion. She's the kind of character, whatever, that puts over the other women. And well, you know what, Michael Hayes, I have to say one thing. Fuck you, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You there's this woman who has more charisma than anybody else on the fucking roster, and you just want to keep her down. Well, you know what? Now it's her time to shine.
I kind of want to play devil's advocate here. Was he keeping her down? Because I think in the old school mindset, he knew what he was doing here. And
Are
even
you
Matt
sure?
Cardona talked about this on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast as well. When she won the championship. He knew what he was doing. Because, of course, Chelsea gets a reaction every time she does something. So for him to make that comment, it made us, fans, get invested in her. Because guess what? Michael Hayes, he had his time in the business. So does he actually care of you saying fuck you to him? Does he care about what we think of him? No, because at the end of the day, the reason why he's in the position that he's in as a producer for WWE, one of the head guys behind the scenes, is because he's trying to create the stars of tomorrow, and he knew what he was doing when he made that comment, because guess what? People started to really rally behind Chelsea Green since that episode aired of WWE Unreal. Whether you love or hate Michael Hayes, I think without him saying that on Unreal, maybe this doesn't happen.
Yeah, but
and
Chelsea
guess what?
Green,
He ate
Chelsea
his words.
Green was Chelsea
he ate
Green
his
was,
words and admitted.
Chelsea Green was over before that, though. Maybe to not this kind of degree or whatever, but she was over.
Yeah, but I think
before
that this is what helped her get over the hump. And I think Michael Hayes And she and Matt have even said, like, you got to give a little credit where it's due, because I think Michael Hayes kind of gave her the kick in the ass to go from being mid-card to being the main event player that she can be. And sometimes you need that.
Well, the way WWE creative operates, and we've seen it, with Michael Hayes and fucking Bruce Pritchard and all those fucking assholes. Like, they push people that don't need to be pushed, and then they hold down people that should be fucking over the moon.
Look, I agree with what you're saying when it comes to that, but we're talking about Chelsea Green in particular, and I think that if he never made that comment on Unreal, maybe we don't get behind her like we have. And there you go. We got that moment of her winning the championship, and it was the perfect time. And that's the thing in pro wrestling. Timing is everything. But also, I loved this segment because it felt real, because they've never acknowledged Matt Cardona, like, being married to Chelsea up until now. So it had that real feeling because Gunter was disrespecting his wife. So the fact that he runs out, there's no music or anything, and it felt raw. It felt real. I think this also has finally given Matt something on TV.
I thought it was hilarious. Gunther being like, "Oh, you ran out from catering all the way to the ring." Bro, I fucking died.
But dude, that's the thing. I loved what this did for Matt Cardona as well, because I think now WWE has some directions that they can go in with Matt. And
you know what I kind of wish they would have done,
that's the thing, too. Matt Cardona also did have a backstage segment with Kit and The Miz. Also made a whole uncut promo on his social media talking about how, like, this feels like he finally got the kick in the ass, that he's ready to, like, fight, and just, we might be getting that we might be getting a little bit of that independent Matt Cardona back. I think that Gunter, this is a good thing that happened.
You know what I kind of wish would have happened, though? Like, as far as, like, the Matt Cardona and Gunter thing, I kind of wish we would have gotten, like, have the match or whatever. Obviously, they were in street clothes. But, like, you could have done a thing to where, like, maybe, they were, not listening to the referee and just legitimately fighting or whatever, and that caused a disqualification or, like, a no contest. It would have saved Matt Cardona from fucking getting beat. It would have saved fucking...
Yeah, but I thought the beating made Matt look good, because he was fighting back. He wasn't giving
I just think it would have looked cooler for, like, them to legitimately,
But also, too, if you have, like, VPN or, like, you were watching internationally where there wasn't commercials, if you do see, like, during the break, they were pretty much, like, having, like, unsanctioned style, because Matt threw the chair at Gunter, like Sabu. And, like, Matt was actually, like, getting, like, real hits on him. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been a lot better and a lot cooler and a better visual, whatever, if, like, we had a visual of them, like being so angry at each other to where they had to be fucking pulled apart. So, like, the match didn't have, like, a definitive end, and that could have built to something even bigger.
Well, all I know is I love what they're doing with Gunter right now. I love what they're doing with Chelsea. And we finally have some direction with Matt Cardona. And I hope this does lead to something with him. Because I do think that he's been underutilized. They haven't had anything for him creatively. And I think that if there's a time to do something, it's now.
Yeah, because, like, if you're not going to, 6 months from now, if you don't have anything, definitive for this guy to do, just fucking let him go. Because you're just wasting his time, you're wasting your time, and let him just let him go kill it on the indies like he was doing.
Yeah, but he was killing it on the indies, man. And we've been wanting him to go back to WWE. So they have him right now, and I don't want them to lose sight of that. I don't want him to lose sight. And I think this year, if you do listen to that unscripted promo that he cut on social media, and even going on WWE radio talking about this, it does feel like he kind of has that fire, like, under his ass that he needed. And that's all you need to do for Matt Cardona. And we've seen it through the history of his career, even as Zack Ryder. You give him that little tiny flint, he's going to make an explosion. And that's what's going to happen. But overall, I thought the segment was great. It was something different. Didn't feel, like, overproduced. And I hope that SmackDown continues this momentum, because I think the shows have been fantastic the last 2 weeks.
SmackDown's been fucking, like, I don't want to say, like, SmackDown is, like, where it needs to be, because there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Like, you know, for instance, our main event topic that we're going to be talking about, but like
the last 2 weeks, I think. But maybe that might be a hot take. But I've been personally enjoying SmackDown the last 2 weeks.
I think I like them both for different reasons. I do feel like the last couple weeks, Raw has had a very good and strong endings to their shows. And I do feel like SmackDown since SummerSlam, like I knew the minute that Kevin Owens came back, I was like SmackDown just totally changed. And I was right.
Oh, you were right, 100%. Punk and Owens. Let's please keep this going for like the next 6 months. Like, I could watch this every week.
You know, they've never had a match with each other. Not in their time in the Indies and Ring of Honor. No, they have never been in a ring together.
That is
not in a
why
tag
I'm
team
excited.
match, not in a singles match, nothing.
And they don't like each other, so that makes it even more exciting. But let's see what some of the maniacs here said about this whole Chelsea Green. Matt Cardona, Gunter's segment. Angelo, they made Chelsea a star into one promo. Agree. Gunter is hilarious heel, making Matt tap out to a Boston Crab. Alex Johnson, I like the promo, but the WWE still has Rhea having the Women's Championship despite Rhea not being able to return to the ring for like 6 months, and Rhea still hasn't vacated her title. Agree. Like, that's why I was getting pissed with them, like, possibly stripping Chelsea of the championship, because, like, what sense does that make? Like, Rhea's going to be out for
What if they're having Rhea keep the title and having her come back, building a story between her and Chelsea Green, because obviously we're going to have to get the unification titles. And what if Rhea Ripley agrees to put Chelsea Green over? And what if Rhea Ripley gets beat by Chelsea Green? What if they're going to work a story in that? And the only way you
that's
have that
how
happen,
you make a fucking star. So I hope that happens.
The only way you have that happen is if Rhea Ripley keeps the title for the time being.
Yep, this is exactly how I feel. The 30-day rule thing didn't make sense to me, as it didn't apply to Rhea and Liv Morgan.
Yeah, but Chelsea Green is not Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, though. That's
but Liv Morgan not
reality.
defending the title in 100 days, like, come on.
Same thing happened to Jay Cargill. Jay Cargill went 100 days.
Yeah, and you think I'm justifying that? You think I'm happy she didn't defend the title in 100 days? That's why I'm saying there's a lot of if you're going to do one thing, you have to do the other. You just have to. So this kid's on point. But let's move on now to our next TV recap here. Going over to, or real quick, SmackDown related, just a quick take. What's your thoughts on MFTs winning back the tag titles and now having Haku with them?
I feel like I'm one of the only people that like really likes this move, you know, like, because I was sick of the tag team titles being held by people that are not legitimately a tag team. Like Damian Priest, no matter how hard they try, him and R-Truth are not a legit tag team. Fraxium, when Tommaso Ciampa was there, Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, they're tag team. I mean, you know, Tala and fucking Tama, they're fucking brothers, and that's their dad. Like, they're a tag team. You know what I mean? In Haku, man, like, I remember when he came in, like, I obviously know he was, you know, big in, like, you know, the early 90s, whatever. But I remember in 2000 when I first got introduced to him, it was around the time that Rikishi got outed as the one that ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he did it for The Rock. And a couple weeks later, he ended up bringing Haku, and I see this fucking big Samoan with a bushy ass fucking, you know,
I remember that, yeah,
afro or whatever. Like, that's when I first got introduced to Haku. So to see him back on TV, like, definitely gives me, like, he looks a lot different, but he gives me that nostalgia vibe. You know what I mean?
I say this all the time. In pro wrestling in general, we just need more managers. It works. Like, I think giving Tala and Tama Haku is doing more good for their careers than just being by themselves.
Yeah.
I think having the presence of Haku makes a huge difference. And Roman Reigns, I could go back to with the Bloodline back at the Thunderdome in 2020. It seemed like he started to gain a lot of confidence with his promo skills, but having Paul Heyman, one of the greatest managers of all time,
I don't think the
side,
Bloodline would be what it is today if it was not for Paul Heyman. Like Roman has a lot of star power, yes, but like if it was not for the influence that Paul Heyman had, I don't think people wouldn't have bought into it as much.
But the presence of Paul Heyman being by Roman's side made him feel more important. And I just think valets and managers is just such a missing art in professional wrestling, period. And there's a reason why, like, the Don Callis family at AEW are over. Because Don Callis, they might have a whole freaking NWO. They might have a whole freaking family table for Thanksgiving and the holidays.
I don't want to put that bill.
But guess what? Those guys having a guy like Don Callis who can generate easy heat, it does great things for the guys that are a part of the Don Callis family. So going back to Haku being with Tala and Taba, this is what they need. I love this, and I hope we continue to get more managers moving forward with certain guys, certain talent. Ooh, also, Shinsuke's going to be having a new tag partner as well that they've been teasing.
Yeah, Takahashi. I don't know.
I think Shinsuke going from trying to bring back what he was doing in Black and Gold NXT. Clearly, it hasn't worked. Like, they've been booking him they book him for a couple weeks, the Nostalgia Act, and that's it. I think Shinsuke coming in with a tag partner, I think that this is going to be good. This is going to be good for him.
The last really good feud I remember Shinsuke having was Rollins, when Rollins was the World Heavyweight Champion. And, like, the fact that WWE didn't, capitalize and have Rollins put over Shinsuke to have him win the world title or whatever, like, that's when you should have done it. And like,
and Takahashi and him do have history there, so would
I can't speak on it because I'm not that familiar with Takahashi, so I'll see what he does. It's just I would be lying if I said I was excited, because honestly I don't give a fuck. But like, that's not me being an asshole. That's WWE's fault.
No, I get that. And I think going into it with low expectations, that's understandable, because they have been very inconsistent with their tag division and the way that they've been booking them. But I will say the last couple weeks on SmackDown, it seems like they are starting to put a little more effort into it. And I hope, that's all you can do when you're a WWE fan and AEW fan. Hope that they actually do something here. And I hope this works out for Shinsuke and Takahashi.
It goes for both AEW and WWE. Like, I feel like, because I watch both and I'm a fan of both, that like I'm sort of programmed to be like, oh, you're gonna bring somebody new in, book them for a couple weeks, and then without any kind of warning, without any kind of reason or whatever, any explanation of anything, you're just gonna take them off TV and we're not gonna see them for months on end. Like, WWE and AEW have me programmed to think that way. So, like, unless you prove me wrong, then that's just what I'm going to think. And I'm not going to be excited about somebody you're bringing in.
Fair. But somebody that has been getting booked pretty good lately, we're going to talk about his segment on Raw, which ended the show. Solo Sikoa was supposed to fall in line with the Bloodline. Instead, he hit Roman Reigns with the Samoan Spike, LA Knight and him fighting the Bloodline back. What's your thoughts on the swerve angle here with Solo and Roman?
I talked about this on my stream because I always go live a half hour before or whatever, so me and my community can like talk or whatever and talk about well, what do we think is going to happen on the show or whatever. And I said, like, everybody in my chat was like, I don't see Solo Sikoa, join the Bloodline or whatever. And I was like, the only way I see that happening is if they come up with a story on Solo Sikoa infiltrating the Bloodline and destroying it from within, turning the Usos against each other, turning Jacob against Roman, like just absolutely fucking destroying the inner workings of the Bloodline.
So kind of
That's
like them like stirring, like Solo going in there stirring the pot, because we have seen like Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu having a lot of tension there. Seems like they're slowly building that, but then having Solo in there just stirring the pot, like talking in Jacob's ear, but then also talking in Jay's ear. So that's kind of what you're referring to.
Yes.
I like that.
And you know what? I'm glad that they did what they did because, you know, a lot of people are bringing up the fact that this reminded a lot of people. And like when I was watching it, I didn't put two and two together. I don't think. I can't remember. But a lot of people are saying that this reminds them of the Sami Zayn segment from the Royal Rumble in 2023 when, you know, it was Roman and Kevin Owens in a match or whatever, and you know Roman wanted Sami Zayn to demolish KO with a chair, but he ends up hitting Roman in the back with the chair, you know, obviously, you know, splitting away from the bloodline. A lot of people are comparing
when you don't fall in line
that.
with Roman and you do hit him with the chair or you hit him with the Samoan spike like Solo Sikoa did, you created a star.
Yeah.
And that's something I have noticed in the Bloodline, OTC, Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns era of WWE, is that these moments have created stars.
Yeah.
So Solo doing this 100% was the right call. And I do agree here with Tyrus with what he said. Like, I think him, like, killing the Bloodline from within would have killed the face momentum.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with that, but
yeah, no, 100%. But here's, I do think, like, what, you know, needed to happen. Solo Sikoa, that dude has been nothing but Bloodline since getting called up from NXT. Let's call it like it is.
I didn't realize he was only in NXT for 10 months before he got called up.
But even after the Roman Reigns bloodline, when he left and he took the Ulafala, he had the MFTs. So, like, he's never done anything on his own. And that's why, like, I think, like, we just need to just let Solo be Solo, because clearly within the past month of him just being a babyface, being himself, doing the whole pew, like, he's just getting over.
Bro, he has more, like, this
so
guy.
Much aura, so much
this
charisma.
guy that 2 months ago, we were all complaining, like, get him off our TV. This dude's bored. Like, the MFTs are boring as shit. Like, nobody gives a shit what they're doing or what they're saying. Now we're over here 2 months later talking about, you know, this dude's the biggest babyface in the company. You know what I mean? Like, he has more charisma than anybody in his family besides probably The Rock. You know what I mean? Like, he has single-handedly took himself from being mediocre and boring and stale and just fucking this, you know, this Roman Reigns clone to being this guy that's filled with personality and charisma, and how the entire WWE audience is just fucking like, they hang every time he has a promo, they hang on to everything that he's saying.
They fell in love with him instantly.
Yeah.
And also, like, I've heard, like, really, really good meet and greet experiences with him. People that I know have gotten the opportunity to meet him. And a lot of them would say, okay, like, we need to turn Solo face tomorrow.
Did you see the social media clip, what happened when Rob went off the air?
Yeah.
Roman is sitting there. He's kneeled down with his hand on the rope, whatever, like, you know, trying to, like, come to, like, you know, trying to figure out what just happened. And after LA and Solo left, who was almost right behind them? Jacob Fatu.
Which I love the long-term story we're doing here, because in this segment, Roman giving the captains.
Roman's been saying, don't touch LA
Uafalas,
Knight. Don't get involved. Don't touch LA Knight.
And he's been following.
And he was getting really emotional when Jimmy and Jay were getting the Uafalas.
Yeah, but also, but that's what I was talking about. Like, with the Usos becoming captains, getting the black Uafalas, Jacob didn't get one. So I love the slow build-up that we're getting here with Jacob. And that's why I already know, like, the plan's probably realistically going to be Roman and Oba at WrestleMania probably. But that's why I kind of want Gunther to beat Punk for the championship towards Survivor Series. and hold the championship until Mania and have Oba go that direction, because I think that Jacob going into WrestleMania and going into the road to WrestleMania, turning on Roman would be fucking huge for Jacob Fatu. And I think that that is how you create a new main event star. And I think Jacob Fatu, in those 2 matches that he had with Roman Reigns, from WrestleMania to the beginning of the summer, he proved that he could be a main event player. And now having him, like, kill the bloodline from within, this is how you do it. This is how Jacob becomes world champion.
People are saying,
and I know it's not going to happen.
People are saying that at Money in the Bank, like, what if we have Jacob helping LA Knight beat Roman for the World Heavyweight title? And then you have Solo Sikoa win the Money in the Bank. And then what if you have Solo Sikoa come out and cash in on LA Knight at the end of the show, and you can build a story between them because they're friends, they helped each other against Roman, and now Solo Sikoa was very selfish, and right after LA Knight beats Roman Reigns with the help of Jacob Fatu, you have Solo Sikoa coming with the Money in the Bank, cash in to win the World Heavyweight Championship for himself.
Look, I like that, but I'm not going to plant that in my head because I know WWE Creative is not that smart, and I don't think ChatGPT would tell them to do that. So
the only reason I think
realistically, the plan's probably going to be Trick Williams winning the briefcase.
But the thing is, I could see if we have enough time between now and WrestleMania, I could see Money in the Bank is October 10th. I could see to where I don't know if it's going to be Solo, LA, Jacob. I don't know who it's going to be, but I could see Roman Reigns dropping the World Heavyweight title and then winning it back before Mania. And then that won't do anything to Obafemi as far as like, oh, Roman's already lost the title once, this year or whatever. We don't care about Obafemi. Like, that's not going to happen.
But you see, I really think like the best long-term plan, like I'm really behind Jacob Fatu. Because I really think that you could have him turn on Roman, whether it's at War Games or Rumble season. I think, dude, going into WrestleMania next year, having Roman versus Jacob, and Jacob finally beating him, that would create a main event star out of him. But I do think realistically, when you do think blockbuster and stuff, like Oba and Roman, that's money.
This also ties into. Yeah, a little bit, not 100%, but this also ties into the whole Obafemi and Braun Breaker match at Sunday night's main event, because we're going to find out who the future is of WWE. And the future means beating Roman, dethroning Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship.
But do you think Obafemi is going to be Braun Breaker at Sunday night main event? I don't think so. I think Paul Heyman's going to align himself with Breaker. He's going to help him steal a win, but then we go into Money in the Bank. Oba beats Braun, so that both guys don't get buried. They got 1-1. And then I think they'll kill some time in between. Bronson Reed.
I always thought, what if we get Paul Heyman managing Obafemi, and then we get like Scott Steiner coming back to TV and managing Braun.
I would love that, but I don't think that's happening. I think that Paul Heyman's going to align himself with Breaker because he's scared of him. And I think that it's going to lead to...
Because don't forget, at the end of that segment, when Paul Heyman was, talking whatever and, saying that the match is set for Sunday night's main event, Braun, as Breaker was leaving, Paul Heyman was shaking Obafemi's hand. So you don't know who's his allegiance is going to be towards.
That is
like
true.
This is the kind of storytelling that I was hoping for. See how we're sitting here trying to like dissect, like there's so many different stories, like between Roman and the World Heavyweight Championship and Solo Sikoa, and having it somewhat tie into Braun Breaker and Obafemi and the whole Paul Heyman dynamic there, because Obafemi defeated Brock Lesnar, but also Paul Heyman, like, you don't know if he's going to be on his side or Braun Breaker's side, but also Paul Heyman has ties to Roman Reigns and the bloodline. There's so many this is what I love. I love being on here and dissecting about what could possibly be happening instead of just being like, oh, that was a cool match. Next. You know what I mean? Like, I love thought-provoking stories, and this is what pro wrestling is all about.
I 100% agree, and I've been more invested in both Raw and SmackDown the past 2 weeks since SummerSlam's been over because they have set up good television up until this point. So I do like all these fantasy scenarios that could happen because there's still a long time until we get to WrestleMania. And in the WWE, in professional wrestling period, you never know what is going to happen. Solo could win the Money in the Bank because he is gaining a lot of popularity here. LA Knight is really going face-to-face with Roman, and people are actually considering maybe putting the strap on him. So there is a lot of scenarios. Jacob Fatu, when is he going to finally snap on the Tribal Chief, Jay and Jimmy? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Is Obafemi going to go after Gunter or CM Punk? Because Punk's also been calling him out. Or is he going to go after Roman? Because that's the blockbuster money main event match right there.
I think it was on the SummerSlam post show.
Breaker
Obafemi called out
and then having Bronson Reed potentially coming back and maybe doing something with Oba. So there's a lot of stake.
But on the post show for SummerSlam, I think it was, Obafemi essentially called out Roman Reigns after he defeated Brock Lesnar. So like there's so many dynamics and so many twists and turns. I fucking love it. It gets me excited.
I agree, but let's see what some of the maniacs here said real quick. We have Tyrus killing the bloodline from within. Jacob might be doing that all along anyways. I think that's the long-term plan. Josh Toy Show. What's going on, Josh? The MFT faction is fine without Solo because Tama and Tala are with their dad. Agree. Angelo, Solo is better than Jay and Jimmy. Definitely agree, and I think anybody that's watching wrestling right now can agree with you on that. War Games could actually be interesting this year because the teams could switch up at any moment. That is true. That is true. And Tyrus here in the live chat. Jacob accepted to stay in the bloodline because he has 7 kids to feed. Now he watches Solo as an example that he doesn't need Roman to achieve that. I see. And Omar here, bloodline drama never gets old. I think it was getting a little stale there for a couple months, but now it's starting to get exciting again.
It's starting to heat up.
Because Usos and Roman are kind of falling back into.
And don't forget that everything that Roman has done to the Usos, he's never apologized for. So why are they legitimately going to be loyal to this guy that's not even man enough to apologize for all the horrible shit that he's done to them when he was fucking reigning power?
But at the same time, they're all going back into their old habits. The Usos have been acting more like heels. The way Roman talked and attacked Solo this past Monday, it felt like old Tribal Chief. So the Usos aren't right now. They're in tunnel vision. They don't even care about Roman apologizing or not. We've moved past that because at the end of the day, Roman is so good at manipulating his family members into what's best for Roman, not the family. And now that they fell back in line, Roman's getting comfortable again. And there's just so much in-depth storytelling with the bloodline that I don't understand the people that say, oh, I'm sick of this. Because this is a fucking soap opera. This is a fucking movie. And when Paul Heyman said 3 or 4 years ago that, oh, we're only at the 3rd ending, we thought, that's bullshit, because it's over once Cody finishes the story. I'm glad that Heyman was right about it being in the 3rd ending, because I think we're only at the 6th ending. And guess what? In baseball, there's 9 innings. So I am just all for what they're doing. So many scenarios, so many good things happening right now within this storyline. And I think that it just benefits everybody that's involved.
I think WrestleVotes came out with an article yesterday. I heard that internally on WWE.com, Roman is listed as a heel. So
yes, he is.
He's a heel now. So
well, this past Monday, man, felt like that. I think the last babyface moment we got out of Roman was him and Seth. And I think now Roman is.
And that was the end of one chapter and on to the next.
Bingo. And speaking of a bloodline member, we might as well move on to NXT. Because last week we saw the debut of Zilla Fatu, and we finally got to hear him speak for the first time last Tuesday, and it looks like he'll be getting added to the triple threat match, making it a fatal 4-way at NXT Heatwave. So Tony D'Angelo will be defending his title against Cruz Montana. Still think Santana's name's better. Versus Grayson Waller versus Zilla Fatu. What was your thoughts on the segment this past Tuesday, his first promo?
I liked it. I
And the
actually did.
presentation.
I actually did watch. I did watch NXT on Tuesday just because, like, I found out on Twitter that Zilla ended up showing up, so I was like, oh, well, I gotta watch next week. So I watched on Tuesday,
baby.
the main one. I will say I'm not crazy about his presentation. Like, he came out with, with the shirt like unbuttoned or whatever, and it just seemed too much like The Rock, and it seemed too much like the kind of character that Solo Sikoa is sort of gonna slowly be, getting into eventually. It just didn't seem Zilla. Like, watching Zilla on the Indies and House of Glory and all these things or whatever, like, we know how Zilla is, we know how he acts, we know how his work rate is, and it just seems like they're trying to make him something that he's not. So I wasn't crazy about the presentation. I hate his fucking music. Like, his music is fucking ass in my opinion.
Def Rebelled.
Yeah, you got Def Rebelled hardcore.
And
I thought it was hilarious. He was, because he was cutting his promo and he was like, I'm gonna show these boys that I ain't know. He meant to say Nepo, baby, but he said
I know where you're going with this.
he said Nympho,
Nympho.
baby. So I thought that was hilarious. But besides that, like, he seems like he's comfortable. He seems like, obviously, like, this is his second week. He's gotta, learn the way WWE does things. He's not gonna, hit a home run his first outing. But I like that he's here. We speculated for a long time. We knew it was inevitable that Zilla Fatu was going to be in WWE. We didn't know when. We didn't know, to what extent. We didn't know if he was going to be on the main roster or NXT.
Oh, I know he was on NXT. Don't put me in that conversation.
I didn't know.
I knew.
I will say, I don't think he's going to be in NXT long. As long as he, he's. I do think at Heatwave he wins the title. I'm dead set on him. There's a reason why he's a new guy and he's being automatically thrust in that spot and put in that spot.
I would prefer Grayson Waller over him winning it.
Yeah, but this guy,
I like
they're
what
trying.
Grayson's doing. But I understand why they would make the decision to get
you know how WWE feels about the fucking bloodline. You know what I mean? Like, that's just,
Well, it makes the most
Zilla
sense too, because then you can kind of have him get acknowledged like backstage or something, like on
Zilla
Raw.
Fatu's
him in the
family
crowd or
is
something.
fucking, like, he's part of wrestling royalty, man. Think of the Yokozuna, The Rock, fucking Rikishi, fucking like Roman Reigns.
But you see, that's the part that does kind of scare me a little bit. Giving Zilla the championship in his very first match on NXT. Is he ready to be the guy that you build this promotion behind? Because, of course, right now at NXT, it seems like we have 4 guys, and I love that they're making this a fatal 4-way. We have 4 guys who want to be the guy that NXT gets built around. That's the story here. But is Zilla Fatu ready for that? Because here's the thing. We're both very big fans of his. He's also a We Are Wrestling Maniac. He supports us, watches our stuff. Loves Zilla Fatu as a person. Fantastic. This is why I knew he wasn't going to get thrown immediately to the pack of wolves on the main roster, because there is a big difference between independent wrestling and WWE TV and how you do things. Yeah. Like, one of the big things that I was paying attention to during this segment was, is Zilla looking at the hard cam or the cameras when he needs to? There's a lot of times where Zilla seemed like didn't know where the camera was, like, on him and stuff. Because here's the thing, when you go from independent wrestling to TV, it is sometimes a hard transition for a lot of people, and that's why him going to NXT, this is a good way for him to get used to the way WWE does things. And I think realistically, he stays in NXT at least until after Stand and Deliver. So I think until after WrestleMania, possibly. But I think if he continues to cut promos the way he did here, it might be a little bit longer than Stand and Deliver. And you know what? That's okay, because the kid is still very young. He still has a lot to learn. And I think through time, he's going to get comfortable. He's going to get better. So I don't think this is the end-all, be-all, because guess what? A lot of people thought that in 1996 as a Survivor Series, when The Rock made his debut in professional wrestling as Rocky Maivia, coming out with that ridiculous freaking thing around his neck, people thought that was it for him. Like, he was going to end up being worse than Rocky Johnson, his father, and even his late grandfather, High Chief Peter Maivia. But guess what? The Rock, it took him a couple years to reinvent himself. He started to cut promos on the mic. He came up with the Rock gimmick. And guess what? He became a household name, one of the biggest Hollywood stars right now, and one of the biggest stars in all professional wrestling, sports entertainment. So with Zilla Fatu, I say, boys, let's be patient. Give this man time, because we know what he's capable of doing. But I think until they kind of give him that Samoan bulldozer, like old Solo Sikoa killer mentality, I don't think that we're going to be making any progress. I like that we're keeping the Zilla Fatu name. I like that we're keeping that nickname, the main one. But I do think that we still have a lot of learning to do here, and I don't think we should be fantasy booking him being a part of the Bloodline storyline right now, because he still has a lot to learn.
Yep. I 100% agree. Love Zilla. He's a fucking beast. Love
So
everything that he's
talented.
done. I will say I want WWE to make him more him. You know what I mean? Like, Zilla Fatu, there's a certain cadence, like when he speaks, there's a certain way that he conducts himself. He moves around very, very methodically, and like he needs to tap into that. And I feel like WWE is trying to change him a little bit too much, and I'm not a fan of.
But maybe you are also thinking that as well, because this is the big league. Zilla made it clear, like, this is what he's wanted to do his whole life. And maybe Zilla right now is just a little green, so maybe it is coming off that way. But guess what? Through time, he's going to get more comfortable, because whenever you start a new job, it does take a little bit to adjust. Like, you're not going to be comfortable the very first day on your job. You're learning. And with Zilla, man, that's what NXT is supposed to do. You're supposed to learn. And that's why, like, I am enjoying watching NXT on Tuesdays, because there is a lot of guys that are finally getting pushes that have been in the Performance Center for years. And, like, I know a lot of people don't like NXT 2.0, but guess what? It did create a lot of stars. And that's what I like with NXT, is it's supposed to be a developmental brand. This is where you're supposed to learn the WWE television way, and this is where you're either going to become a star or you're not going to make it.
But also,
NXT is a perfect system for.
But also, you can look at the fact that NXT has a lot of stars or whatever that go to the main roster, and they, main roster creative does nothing with them. Creed Brothers, for instance, like, they were a powerhouse tag team, one of the best tag teams I've ever fucking personally witnessed, on NXT, and they go to the main roster, they get in the story with Chad Gable it's cool for a couple weeks or whatever, and then they just slowly diminish them, and they're only on when they're putting somebody over, and it's like, bro, you have these guys and you're not fucking doing anything with, like, what is your issue? You know what I mean? Like, so yes, you need to treat NXT like, a developmental system or whatever, but WWE does not treat NXT like it's important, if that makes sense.
That does make sense in a way, because I think when you call up people from NXT to the main roster and you don't have a plan, you're already setting them up for failure, and you shouldn't be doing that. You keep them on NXT until you have a plan set in stone. But guess what? Paul Heyman, he talked about this on the Chris Van Vliet podcast, Insight. Heyman is not thinking about, what do I need to do tomorrow? He's looking at things 2, 3, 5 years in advance. And that's what WWE needs to do with a lot of these NXT call-ups. Like, we really need to think, okay, he could have his first program with this guy, but, like, all right, what are we going to do with him after that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, with Zilla Fatu, like, I don't want him to just go right to the main roster right away, because I really think that, like, he could get people to tune into NXT every week because of the Fatu name and being a part of the bloodline. And at the same time, he's learning and he's developing and he's going to become a better professional wrestler staying in NXT.
100%. So shout out to Zilla. Congratulations.
Shout out to the main one, baby. We're so happy for you, man.
Hey, Solid Skull was only in NXT for 10 months.
Crazy. But you never know. Some people, they learn things quicker. There's other people, it does take years. But I do agree with Angelo here in the live chat. NXT is interesting again. Definitely agree with that. Josh Toy Show, Zilla getting a championship in his first match is insane. Obviously, he won't win it, but he will work his way up to the NXT title picture. Other than that, his team is mid and could be better.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie, it is Maya Via, not Maida Vita. It's so funny because, like, when it comes to, like, wrestling figure reviews and stuff, like, just a little bit off topic here, I will mispronounce something. It could be any video, and there's always a comment. Gotta love having ADD.
Yeah, the speech impediment, motherfuckers.
And a speech impediment. All right, well, we have one more TV recap to cover here real quick. I don't think there's too much to talk about with this, but last night on AEW Dynamite, Kevin Knight burned Darby Allin with a pyro incident similar to Jeff Hardy's incident back in 2009. And then, of course, we did see Darby Allin going through the stretcher. Sting's son saying he's going to come for Kevin Knight.
Go.
What was your thoughts on this segment here?
I didn't see it. I heard about it. Yeah, all I heard on X was, oh, they replicated what Matt Hardy did to Jeff Hardy during their feud or whatever, from back in like 2009. It seems cool. Like, I don't know exactly where they're going with this. I don't know, man.
Well, they're giving you storyline here with Darby and Kevin. They're actually doing something that's not just okay.
I don't feel like,
hey, let's have a good match out here, boys.
Yeah, I don't feel. I feel like I'm very. I feel like I'm very uneducated because, like I said, I was up front at the beginning of the episode. I did not watch AEW last night. I just been so busy.
Well, I did watch this segment, so I can share my thoughts on this.
I will say, I like what they're doing, but I'm not a fan of Kevin Knight and the Don Callis family. I feel like it's doing more harm than good, and it's not really, the crowd's really not getting behind him or whatever. So I just honestly don't feel like the crowd really cared about this. Like, they cared about, like, Darby. But, like, but Darby, the same guy that gets thrown on glass, he gets fucking, cut by barbed wire. Like, they're like, oh, cool, Darby Allin's doing all this shit. Now he's getting set on fire. That's fucking dope. You know what I mean? So I feel like it had
love Darby.
I feel like it had the opposite kind of reaction that they were probably hoping for, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but with Kevin Knight, like, I do see a lot of star potential with him. I know you do as well. But I do think the Don Callis family, I even said it from the get-go, I don't think that he needed it. I think that he is good enough to not have the Callis family. Or, hell, Stokely, you could have put him with him, because FTR right now is taking a break. Oh, my God. You fucking casuals.
You fucking casuals.
I just really think, like, this I liked because it was different. And I think that, like, having, like, Kevin Knight, like, beat the living shit out of Darby here, and then even doing, like, the coast-to-coast with the chair afterwards, I thought that was pretty damn sick. And then having Sting's son, like, be there for Darby because of the relationship that Darby and Sting have, that's story. And, of course, it makes sense for Sting's son to be upset at Kevin Knight for what he did. And this will probably set up a match for next week where Sting's son, because of the inexperience, he'll probably put over Kevin Knight. And now just add more fuel to the fire.
I know Sting's son has been doing a lot of like dark matches for AEW as of
Yeah,
late.
he's looking good. I've been watching a lot of his stuff.
Wasn't he?
looking
Didn't
great.
he get trained at like the Nightmare Factory or something?
I
Like I know Darby
can't
did a lot of
100%
training with
confirm.
him, but I swear like he got trained by other people.
There was somebody, I forgot who it was. Somebody in the live chat probably could tell us. But I do think in general, like, I like where they're going with this with Kevin Knight and Darby. I just don't like Kevin Knight being a part of the Callis family. Because guess what? This is what a lot of you AEW haters are complaining about, is that AEW is not doing storytelling or storylines. Well, guess what? This was not just a random match. Yes, they did have a lot of those last night. All right, I'm not defending Tony Khan in that regard. But this was a segment, and it was a pretty good one, because Kevin Knight got to lay his hands on Darby, and this is only going to piss Darby off more going into their Falls Count Anywhere match. And guess what? I like me a different segment or a promo that happens. Like, I don't like the same typical cinematic vignettes that you do get on Raw every single week. Your typical backstage interviews, your typical face-offs, your typical promos. I like when they do things different. And I think that's why you and I, we love the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Because we got a lot of those things. We got general manager segments in The Office. Freaking the bingo cage for the Royal Rumble during the pay-per-views. I'm not talking about the stupid fucking pre-shows that nobody watches.
Yeah.
So I do think that in general, this was kind of cool. And hopefully next week, because we're running out of time here, 10 days until AEW All In, which We Are Wrestling will be doing a live watch along for, and I'm sure you'll be doing one as well.
Yes, I will be.
I hope that we do get Sting's son versus Kevin Knight, because at least that will be something that involves the story. But that is it for the We Are Wrestling Weekly TV recap. And I think it's time we get into the We Are Wrestling Weekly news and rumors. What do you say?
Let's get it, bruh.
Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you.
It's me, Ricky Williams.
Moxley's just as crazy as him.
No, Ricky! Bullshit!
They do it too sometimes. I'll be catching it.
It's me, Ricky Williams.
Stop playing.
But that's my opinion.
How you not cheering for that shit?
He is so over.
Ricky knows best, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky knows best. Believe in me. God bless you.
What's up, We Are Wrestling? Shout out to everybody at We Are Wrestling. Let me give you my thoughts on Jeff Cobb returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Actually, I really don't have no thoughts. You know why I don't have no thoughts? Because Jeff Cobb, you should have stayed in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the first place. You go to WWE and you act like you got it big. And this and that. Basically a big name. One that I know. And all your talents were not even used. And then they changed your name to JC Mulatto. They disrespected that man. I don't have much to say about it, man. All I know is Jeff Cobb, just know your worth, brother. Okay? Know your worth. You are a tremendous athlete. Just know your worth, man. Y'all should, these wrestlers, y'all need to stop thinking going to WWE is the best thing for y'all. Because it's getting on my nerves. And Uncle Phil, I'm not a hater. So, with that being said, congratulations. Not using no excuses. I ain't doing none of that. I'm not the one for big words, sarcastically speaking. Shout out to the Thunder Championship. But I need you to hold on to my belt a little longer. But I'm also throwing a challenge out there. Do an AEW show or a New Japan show, you let me know. Those are my challenges. And if I lose, I'm putting a stipulation and I will not challenge for that championship all 2027. But you need to get back to me. You got 48 hours to respond, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the latest headliners, the rumors, the contracts, the controversy, who's pissed off this week, good booking, bad booking. It's time for the We Are Wrestling Weekly News and Rumors. It's time for the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. Ricky knows best. We haven't heard from him since the SummerSlam predictions. Tyrus here in the live chat says Ricky knows best, even if Phil knows better. Ooh.
Oh my God, bro! I wish Phil was still in here, man. We need to get a response. We need to figure out where this is going between these two, and it's becoming very heated. This is a heated rivalry that's like, oh my, I don't even know, man. I don't even know.
Bigger than AEW All In, Sunday Night Main Event, and Money in the Bank all combined. A lot of craziness going on in the We Are Wrestling universe. Ricky knows best. Put a stipulation that, I don't know, is Phil going to accept the rematch? Or is he just going to say, you know what? You got to wait your turn. We'll have to wait and find out. But with that being said, it's time we get into the news. And we might as well start things off with an individual that, Danny, gotta say, man, if we were to invest in wrestlers like the stock market, this individual would have made you probably over $100,000. That's right. And you've been a big fan of his going all the way back to NXT, had big plans for him, big hopes. Well, Big Bronson Reed shared a photo online of his massive transformation. And it looks like he is ready to come back to WWE pretty soon. What's your thoughts on this?
I think this is fantastic, man. Like, I have been a fan of Bronson Reed since he was in that cage match, and he won the North American Championship, and his wife, him and his wife were celebrating in the middle of the ring, and Bronson started, crying or whatever. I've been following since then. Like, I don't know much about like his like stuff prior to that, but I've been following him since then. And when he came back to WWE, and I was like, bro, this dude's gonna be a big deal. This dude is you have no idea. And you were like, oh, I don't like him, this and that, whatever. I can't remember exactly. I don't want to.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'll speak about that. But at the time, can you really blame me for feeling like, okay, he's just another typical big guy? That's it. I think him being aligned with Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins at one point, I think it did really help him a lot. And I think that him just getting those reps in, becoming an established wrestler every week on TV, getting to work with Roman, that's where I really got behind him. Because to me, if you could work with the top guy in WWE, in Roman, then yes, you are capable of being
the tribal thief.
And he did an amazing job with that. So, like, I am proud to admit I was wrong about Bronson Reed. But yes, in the beginning of that main roster run, I was somebody who didn't see the vision that you saw. And I'll give you that.
Like, I don't know what it is, but I've always seen like the star potential in Bronson Reed. Like, I just always knew this dude was going to be a big deal. And like, whenever somebody gets injured, right, and they're out for TV for a year plus, like, and you're always wondering, like, you're always wondering, like, are they really like putting in work to really like get back as soon as they possibly can? We don't even have to guess with this guy, bro. Like, you can tell that this dude is fucking hammering away. Like, look at the transformation. I believe the picture right here in the singlet, I believe that was taken not long before he got injured. And like, look at the transformation from then to now. Like, bro, just like the definition in his arms, like you can tell his fucking, like, his stomach's a lot smaller. Like, this dude is putting in serious fucking work. This dude is going to be a serious fucking issue when he comes back, man. He's going to, and here's my prediction. I think we see him at Sunday night's main event.
Ooh, so you think he's gonna maybe help Braun Breaker beat Oba, or is Oba gonna beat Breaker and then he comes out and attacks him?
I think that he helps Braun Breaker.
I can see that happening. Bronson looks great, and you could definitely tell the dude's putting in the work. And I can't wait to see what WWE does with him moving forward, because, like, if you were already giving him that push with the whole tribal thief thing, Imagine what they're going to do with him now that he's in shape. Because that is one thing about Triple H. Like, yes, he's not the best booker out there, but Triple H, he is a muscle and fitness guy. He is somebody who does appreciate a transformation. He does appreciate a good physique.
Because it shows their work ethic. It shows like what they're willing to go through.
It shows that they
to...
fucking want it. And that's
Yep.
the thing with Bronson Reed here. He looks hungry. He looks determined.
And the thing is, he doesn't look like a bodybuilder. He looks like he's in really, really like ass kicking shape.
Yeah, and he looks like he's ready to fuck somebody up. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do with him, because I do think now he is going to unlock another thing that he probably never expected in his pro wrestling career. Like, look at Gunter. Somebody throughout his career, when he was Walter, when he was on the Independents and NXT UK and even NXT, Gunter was a bigger gentleman. Like, he did have a lot of weight to him. But then going up to the main roster, he got shredded, and now he's the career killer. He had John Cena's last match, Goldberg's last match, and AJ Styles' last match. Also has had multiple World Heavyweight Championship runs, and he's one of the top heels in the WWE right now. So a transformation can really take you very far in the business, especially in the WWE. So with Bronson Reed already getting successful reps and getting successful push by WWE, like still in shape, but not like he is right now.
Yeah.
The sky's the fucking limit. And I can't wait to see what they do with him.
I'm super excited, man. Like,
he's about to become a big time player if WWE Creative does right for him.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna
Firmly
be fucking.
believe that.
It's gonna be fucking awesome.
I agree. But let's move on to what was supposed to be our main event topic until, of course, what happened earlier today with ILJA Dragunov leaving WWE, which will be our main event topic for this week's episode of the pod. Edge did an interview recently with Ariel Helwani, and he was asked about wanting to retire in AEW. So here's what Adam Copeland said. During his interview with Ariel, he said, "Yes, that's where I want to retire, and I know that may disappoint a lot of people, but I love it there. I love the company. I love the attitude. I love the drive. I love the excitement that I see from that locker room. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm good. I did everything I could there, WWE, and then some. And I think they got everything out of me, and then some, that they could have had." What's your thoughts on Adam Copeland, Edge, wanting to hang his boots up and have his last match in AEW over WWE, a company that he was a Hall of Famer in for decades?
It doesn't surprise me, and we sort of talked about this earlier or whatever when the whole ILJA Dragunov news hit or whatever. And I sort of explained like my reasoning as to why we should change main event topics. Adam Copeland's in his 50s. He said that he said in the interview, because I did watch it yesterday. He said that Ariel asked him, do you see yourself wrestling still at 53? And he said no. And I think he just turned 50 or 51. So he doesn't have much time left if he is planning on officially finishing by the time he hits 53. So we knew that if he was still gonna be in AEW going into 2027, that more than likely that was where his career is gonna end. He's done everything that he needed to do in WWE. There's literally nothing in WWE that he hasn't done or that he really needs done. You know what I mean? So it does not surprise me one bit, and it shouldn't surprise anybody else that this is where he wants his career to end. Because it's gonna be very, 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 very soon. So people need to mentally prepare for it, because I feel like with him being able to retire on his own accord, not because of an injury, I feel like it's gonna be like a John Cena, to where it's he's once he's done, he's done.
Agree 100%. especially if he's the one that can, like, say, like, he could be the one that, like, rides off into the sunset, because he didn't get that opportunity back in 2011. Like, unfortunately, the neck injury is what caused him to have to retire early, but then putting in the work through the years, he was able to come back at the Royal Rumble in 2020, and I think that this is the right move for Adam Copeland. Edge, whether you love or hate the decision, of course, like, we wanted to see him in the John Cena farewell tour. And I do agree with what he said in the interview. Like, I think Tony Khan would have allowed it, but would WWE and TKO do that? Probably not. Let's call it like it is. He even knew that too. So that's coming out of the source's mouth. But I do think that with Edge ending his career at AEW, this is obviously the right move, because we've seen the way people have gone out in WWE, and we still fantasy book to this day how better the John Cena farewell tour could have been. They could have done more with maybe AJ Styles in the last year before he hung up the boots. Goldberg, they literally cut his segment, his speech during Saturday Night Main Event on Peacock, a streaming service. Meanwhile, AEW, let's talk about some of the people that have retired. Sting. What a perfect ending to a first-class Hall of Fame successful career. They couldn't have booked Sting's farewell tour any better.
Is Sting in the WWE Hall of Fame? I can't remember if he's ever been inducted.
Yes,
Sting
is.
Inducted.
But also another example, Bryan Danielson. They also did right with him during his last couple of years, wanting to go back as Bryan Danielson. So I think, looking at it from Adam Copeland's perspective, he feels respected by his boss. He feels respected by the locker room. He clearly enjoys working for AEW. You could just tell, because he sounded like a kid, like, on Christmas morning throughout this entire interview with Ariel. I firmly believe that, like, he knows this is the right spot, because in wrestling, it's fate, and everything happens for a reason. And guess what? If WWE, man, they never did Christian, his best friend Jay, dirty, maybe he would be in WWE right now with Christian. But then again, look at all the people that he's worked with, especially in WWE from the last, like, 3 to 4 years. He did get to main event against Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. He got to work with Seth Rollins in a very good program. He got to rekindle things with Randy Orton. Had that last match with Sheamus in Toronto. He did everything he felt like he could have done in WWE, but with AEW, there's a whole new crop of talent. Look at him and Christian. They get to work with the Young Bucks, one of the best tag teams in pro wrestling. Might be a hot take, whether you love or hate the Young Bucks and their style. You can't deny that they are a Hall of Fame tag team. FTR, they're very close with. They've gotten to work with them. Plus, we still haven't even really touched the surface yet, because, dude, Adam Copeland and MJF, we can get that eventually. Adam Copeland and Darby Allin in a one-on-one match. Swerve and Edge. Edge and Hangman Adam Page. Kenny Omega. So, like, it really makes so much sense for him to want to end his career on his own terms in AEW, because clearly he's having a good time. And so far, Tony Khan has not done him wrong or bad booking.
Yeah, I agree. You know, he's going to be at Maple Leaf Pro, I think in October or whatever.
Those avenues.
He posted a thing on Twitter or Instagram. I can't remember. They showed it on Ariel Helwani's show yesterday or the other day. And it's like Adam Copeland. He posted a photo of, like, all the things that he wants to do. He wants to wrestle Maple Leaf Pro, which is going to be happening. He wants to wrestle at the Tokyo Dome, which I think can happen. And there was like one or two other things, whatever. There was one or two other things, whatever, that he wanted to do before he hangs up his boots. But I mean, he has plenty of time. You know, at his age, it would be foolish to go to leave one company, go to the next for a very limited run. You know what I mean? So This may shock some people, but it definitely did not shock me when he said it. I was like, oh, I would.
Yeah, I know.
I,
It didn't
I kind
shock
of
me
figured
either.
like I didn't need to hear him say it, but like now that some people need the validation, if you know what I mean. So
Oh, agree. And now, like, it came from the source's mouth. So,
Yep.
like, now you can't say, like, okay, he's going to go back to WWE because he made it clear that he wants to retire in AEW. Of course, things can always happen. Things can always change. But I think with, like, how laid back and low-key he is in real life, I don't see a CM Punk situation happening. I do firmly believe that, like,
he doesn't talk wrestling or answer any kind of wrestling related phone calls past 6 p.m. at night.
Past 6 p.m. And that's the thing about Tony Khan. Like, the one thing you can't deny about him is, okay, maybe he's not the best booker out there, but at the end of the day, he's a great human being. And there's people out there that, like, Tony sees more than just the wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, he, like, wants to have these personal connections with the people he's working with. And a lot of these legends, they appreciate that because in WWE for all those years, they had to work with Vince McMahon. And that was not the case at all ever in the WWE. So, like, you have job stability with AEW. You know you're working with somebody who clearly has love and passion for professional wrestling. Whether you like the way he views it or not, he still has that passion, and it's so motivating to work for somebody like him. And I think with Adam Copeland, we've seen it with a lot of legends being able to end their careers the right way. I think that for him, it just makes sense.
And like my issue with Tony Khan is not about like whether he's a good human being. Like
But you see, that's the one thing that people cannot take away from Tony Khan. That man knows how to book a solid retirement.
I just wish he would book more stories as opposed to just random matches that nobody's gonna care about a day later. You know what I mean? Like you need to make people care about what they're seeing on your TV show, and a lot of the times he doesn't do it. He books the kind of show that TK wants to book.
Okay, so here's a couple things here from our live chat. We have Nate Daniel here. He's worked with Seth, my favorite feud in 2021. Josh Toy Show. Adam got to work with AJ Styles too in WWE. How about Adam Copeland versus Kenny Omega? I would love that. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. Tyrus, WWE occupies all the octagons in wrestling now.
Oxygen.
Wow, I'm so bad at reading. Oxygen in wrestling now only because AEW All In is coming. A competition I love in both. Who would you want Adam Copeland's final opponent to be? That's a good question to close this segment. I think I got my answer.
Probably Christian Cage. Or like maybe not him, but like somebody that is close to Adam. Like somebody that he's known for a long time. Like I wouldn't want like a Darby Allin or something like that. Like I would want somebody that makes sense. As you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be Christian, but somebody that he has that kind of relationship with. You know what I mean? That way there'll be a lot of meaning behind the match.
Man, for me it's between two people, and I'm okay with either one. You could go MJF for obvious reasons. He's the best storyteller AEW's got, and I think whenever they decide to have him do a singles run again, give me MJF and Adam Copeland for 3 months. Give me that feud. If it's his last, okay, that'd be great for MJF. Great heat. But then at the same time, like, just in general, I just want MJF and Adam Copeland at least one time before Copeland retires.
There's one part of that story that they won't be able to bring up, though.
Yep.
Because remember, during the Punk and MJF feud, he had that picture.
That is true.
And he was meeting CM Punk and Edge. And so
MJF doesn't give a fuck. He'll mention Punk if he really wants to. But
Probably.
The next one I have is Darby Allin as well, because I do think Adam Copeland, if he were to have that perfect last match, if it was his way, I see him doing like a hardcore death match style with Darby. And I think that he already has a lot of love, a lot of respect for Darby as a human being, as a person. Talked very highly of him during this interview with Iwani. And I think that, like, what Sting did for Darby got him even more popular. So imagine Adam Copeland doing that for Darby. I could see that happening as well.
I could see it happening too. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just feel like if this is gonna 100% solidify your career,
dude, and then like a heel Adam Copeland versus Darby Allin, and then like maybe at the end of the match, like that's when he can kind of break character a little bit, and then like hug Darby and stuff. I think that would be cool. That'd be a cool program. Copeland, heel Copeland, and Darby. That'd be sick.
that would make Darby Allin be involved with two of the biggest, most memorable retirements in AEW history.
Ooh, but also Swerve Strickland, man. That's also another good candidate as well, I think, because he's also proved that he could be a really good storyteller with the Hangman feud.
What if one of the FTR guys, like he's really close with Cash? He's the one that actually got Cash into pro wrestling.
But...
like there's a lot of history there and stuff like that. And
see, I don't know, man. I was really, really happy with like the Coping Cage versus FTR matches that we did get, and I did enjoy the storyline in the program with them. So honestly, I'm okay with passing on that because there's still more meat on the bone here with a lot of the AEW stars. I think Swerve, MJF, or Darby would be perfect. But let's move on now to our last We Are Wrestling Weekly news and rumors topic. Before we get into the ILJA Dragunov main event, we have an AEW versus WWE discussion. And we're going to try to rapid fire through this here real quick. Because on Raw, during the Braun Breaker and Oba Femi segment, Paul Heyman made a comment saying, "This is the biggest promotion in the world. We don't just answer to the people live and the people at home. We answer to the shareholders." To which AEW wrestler Ricochet, a part of the Demand, former WWE superstar, responded saying that we answer to our fans, not the shareholders. What's your thoughts on this? Because I know you did make a tweet about this.
You saw my
yes,
tweet
I did.
to,
We Are Wrestling did repost it. So guys, I'm gonna be nice here to Danny because he hasn't been an asshole during these 2 hours. Go give this man a follow over on his X page at Danny Huckins PW if you want to talk wrestling.
Yeah, it's where I get all my thoughts out.
And you can follow me at Best One Donnie as well. And We Are Wrestling. Links are down in the description box below.
I feel like there's a lot of discourse when it comes to AEW online. Like, they always say, like, the IWC is, their fan base. But a lot of the IWC is against what they're doing on television. And it's like, if you're going to say or claim that you book the shows for the fans and you're not putting forth the effort that the fans deserve in your shows, then isn't that's kind of productive to your argument and your statement? What you're saying.
Wait a minute, real quick. There's a difference between AEW fans and the IWC. AEW, we're the sickos. There's a difference between the sickos and the IWC. All right. So don't put the sickos in the same sentence.
Bro, the IWC are the same people that wake up on Saturday morning and they tweet from their fucking Kenny Omega fucking, role-playing account and fucking all this shit. Like, the IWC is what Tony Khan, that's the kind of fan base Tony Khan wants.
The sickos.
The sickos are a part of the IWC, you fuck.
Oh, so the Juggalos are then too? Yeah, that's what I thought. Continue.
I just don't think you can claim when your audience continuously decreases, month after month, year after year. This time last year they were fucking almost 800,000 viewers, and now they're barely pulling in fucking 6 or 7. Like, I just don't.
They were not getting 800,000 last year at this time. I thought ratings were a lot lower than that. I thought numbers have gone back up a little bit within the past year.
Not much. Like this has to be.
Well, Collision is starting to fucking. They've doubled their fucking numbers because I think last year they were like sitting at like 150 to like 200,000 viewers per week, but ever since like 2026, they've been hitting 400,000 a week. Which I know it isn't where CM Punk's Collision was at one point, but if you're looking at it from year to year basis, Collision they have got ratings back up better than what it was.
I mean,
the year previous.
This the same. This you have to look at it like this is the same company that had the MJF versus CM Punk feud. The same company that had the CM Punk and Eddie Kingston feud. Same company that had the Adam Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland feud. They legitimately fucking made a 24-hour compilation of Hangman sitting in a rocking chair in front of Swerve's burning house on Christmas, and they had it loop all day long on AEW's YouTube channel.
That was whoever came up with that deserves a rating.
This is the same company that did the Hollywood ending between Tony Storm and Mariah May. Like, I
She
know
hasn't
what
been the same since.
Bro, like AEW is capable of so much more than what they're putting on, and I just don't feel like they really care what the fans and the audience thinks, because if they did, they would at least show forth the effort, because like we know what they're capable of. We've seen it before.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
there's
just like
still. But here's the thing, though. Like, I understand how you feel, and I know there's a lot of fans that feel that way. You're not just the only one, because I have seen it on the IWC. I have seen it. But at the same time, the viewership isn't at its very lowest. Like, they are still averaging about 650 to about 800,000 a week right now, which obviously isn't the numbers that they were getting, because I think their highest were like 900,000 to 1 million. But also, these are numbers that with HBO Max, we're not getting those numbers, because I know a lot of people do watch AEW through that. Netflix, we don't get those numbers as well with WWE, so like none of that's going to be accurate. And with social media and YouTube, a lot of people don't really watch cable television anymore. But you're right to a degree when it comes to the AEW stuff.
Right where we sit right now.
But I just think that it's not your cup of tea what they're doing. But clearly there is people that are invested.
The thing is, where we sit right now, right? August 20th, 2026, 8:14 p.m. Where we sit right now, it does not feel like AEW All In from Wembley Stadium is a week from now. Like, it just the build, there's like little to no builds for that show, and it's like, bro, like you're trying to pack a massive stadium. You would think that you would at least show effort in your show to build interest, to have people feel like, damn, I gotta go to this fucking show, man. That's gonna be incredible. Like,
I agree.
I don't feel that with that.
I agree with you when it comes to the build-up going into All In. It does feel kind of weak, and I don't think necessarily it's the matchups or the storylines. I think they're doing a pretty good job with that, but the problem is AEW overrunning the 2-hour mark on Wednesdays. Like I said before to you, because we've had this discussion, they just go. As soon as AEW programming starts, immediate, it's Wednesday, you know what that means. If it's like a fucking machine gun for 2.5 hours. That's the problem. Because guess what? You don't have time to digest the Kevin Knight and Darby Allin segment. You don't have time to really reflect on what you think about Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega segments, because you're immediately jumping into a random trios match with a 5-on-5 or a fucking 6-on-6 or a freaking triple threat fatal 4-way backstage segment, and then you get the play-by-play commercials. And sometimes on a weekly show, a commercial's a good thing to kind of just take a deep breath, relax. And I think that's why some fans have been tuning into Collision, and that's why some of those numbers are starting to go back up. Because when you watch Collision, it doesn't feel like a machine gun going off. Like, there's actual structure to the show. They slow things down, and it works. That's why WWE is in the position that they're in. They're number one for a reason. Because it's not rocket science to know that you have to give, especially in this generation, you have to give us time to digest things. Our attention span is not where it was 20 years ago, where you could go. And that, you need time to process it. And that's the problem with AEW. They're not giving you that time to process it. But then that's why MJF, and like when the Swerve and Hangman, like you talk about all these great storylines, because they give you that time to digest it. It's not MJF. MJF's not going to go out there and just go, I'm better than you, and you know it. He's actually going to give it time, because guess what? He doesn't give a fuck about the time. He doesn't give a fuck about, oh, you go out there for 10 minutes. This is what you have to do. He's going to go out there for 15 because he knows what he's doing matters. So that's the problem with AEW, and I think a lot of people think like, okay, it's the bad storylines. All they're doing is matches, this and that. It's really not. They do the segments, but the problem is they're trying to cram all of this shit in a 2.5 hour span. And it's just, you have to spread things out better, and you can't make everybody happy. Like, if you don't have the time to use somebody, send them over to Collision. Send them over to Ring of Honor. CMLL, they have that working relationship. New Japan Pro Wrestling. You have to spread things out better, and that's the problem here. And now, and you see, here's what I could back up my statement by saying this. The last 2 weeks, AEW Dynamite has gone the 2.5 hour mark. They haven't done that all year up until now, a couple weeks before AEW All In. So I think the problem is Tony Khan's just doing too much, and I think less is more.
Yep.
But I know this is something, WWE, AEW discussion, people will obviously agree to disagree. I think you do make some valid points there. I'm sure I made some valid points. But let's see what Tyrus said here in the live chat. Tyrus here says, oh, Heyman and Ricochet, both statements blur the lines between wrestling carny and corporate reality. Companies pretend to care, especially as big as they become. Which I do think is a great point. Ricochet is obviously doing this just to get heat, because that's what Ricochet does, and that's what a heel is supposed to do. But, like, Danny did make some good points, man, like, when it comes to All In. Like, yes, like, it hasn't felt organic, because, like, Tony is just cramming in everything all at once, and I think you got to spread things out. You have to look 3 to 5 years into the future, like Paul Heyman does. But with that being said, we got a juicy main event topic to talk about. So with that being said, I got. Oh, okay. Phil, I guess, is not waiting the 48 hours. He has responded to Ricky Knows Best.
Well, let's hear this response, man.
Oh boy, the Thunder title, man. Whew. A lot of stuff happening.
Allow me to fill you in on one more thing. Hey, Ricky, to answer your challenge, why don't you go to the back of the line where you belong? Because if you knew best, you know that was my response. Bye-bye.
Damn. Okay, well, Phil is playing by the rules, man, where you have to
looks like Ricky's got to win a number one contenders predictions match, man.
I know. I think we might have to set up a number one contenders for one of our upcoming small PLEs.
Ricky knows best versus Rod Money. Winner faces Phil for the Thunder Championship.
Rod Money's already the number one contender, so we just have to wait and see if he accepts. Because if he doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen with Ricky. But it's time for the main event. it's time for the We Are Wrestling podcast, the main event. And before we get into the ILJA Dragunov topic, I just want to come on here first and congratulate my good friend. He is We Are Wrestling Maniac, AEW star, Ring of Honor star, Smart Mark Sterling, on getting his first fully articulated action figure, thanks to Collect Major and AEW Jazzwares. It is still available now on the Jazzware Vault's website and Collect Major. I believe right now there's only 300 or less figures available. So you can go get that now. Smart Mark, big supporter of the channel, even my toy channel, which if you guys do want to see the review on the Smart Mark figure, you can go over to the Best One Donnie YouTube channel, because that video should be coming out right after the pod. But with our real quick though, Danny, with Smart Mark, man, you watched him at Pioneer Valley. So what's your real quick, like, what's your thoughts about like Mark Sterling like finally getting this figure, his first figure? I want to know.
I think it's cool. It was very inevitable, especially with like, you know, his relationship with Matt Cardona and everything. Like, you know, they have a whole podcast about it. And like, I know Tony Khan sees a big upside in him, you know. Tony Khan tries to act like Ring of Honor is, you know, a big deal. I don't necessarily, you know, agree to that. But I think it's really cool, man. You know, like when you're a pro wrestler, like there's two things that you always dream of, you know, having yourself in a video game and an action figure. And, you know, I don't know if Mark Sterling made it in the AEW video game, but the fact that he has an action figure, man, I think it's pretty cool.
And he has been somebody that's been wrestling in our area for years, Create a Pro graduate. So happy for him. Like, through the years, like, I've developed a great relationship with him through the independent scene. Just to see him like have all this success, really happy for him. And if you guys love Smart Mark, man, you can go get his figure on collectmajor.com or Jazzwares Vaults, and it's not a sponsorship at all. Just love Mark. He supported this podcast, supported my channels, so I wanted to give him the same love here with our main event. So
we should probably, you know, take this time really quick to send our regards and our get well wishes after that nasty, hellacious bump that he took on ROH recently. Absolutely insane, man. It's all over Twitter. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was pretty much like this, like with the figure. Like this is basically Smart Mark. What happened? Or he was like on his head. He looked like the ridiculousness logo from the old MTV show that would never fucking stop playing. All right, in our main event topic this week, earlier today, ILJA Dragunov, former WWE United States Champion, is no longer in WWE, according to PW Insider. ILJA Dragunov's WWE contract has expired, and he is currently a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants, and according to False Finish, WWE would have liked ILJA Dragunov to stay with the company, but he refused to re-sign with them. What's your thoughts on this?
You know, it's really crazy to me, man. I've been big on ILJA Dragunov since, you know, his NXT UK days and, like, you know, the absolute fucking wars and battles that he had with, you know, Gunther and stuff. I was a huge opponent to him, you know, coming to the main roster. You know, he started off strong. Unfortunately, he got injured. He was out for 13 months. And he came back earlier this year. I think it was either, I can't remember if it was before or after WrestleMania. But, like, the night he returns, man, he fucking won the U.S. title. And, like, I thought that was, a huge upside. Like, WWE sees a lot of upside in this guy. And, you know, he was battling back and forth for the U.S. title, you know, lost it. He fought for it again. He was going through this crisis in his mind. Like, he didn't think Carmelo Hayes kept trying to, talk him into, like, wrestling him, having a rematch for the title. And he just kept saying to himself, he's not worthy, whatever. I thought we were going to have somewhat of a payoff for that.
They built character with him.
You know, and he was starting to get over, man. The crowd was really getting behind this fucking guy, you know, and his H-bomb finisher was absolutely fucking, like, annihilating. And it just came out today, man. I was out earlier and I was scrolling on Twitter real quick, and PW Insider posted that Ilya Dragunov left WWE, and like it's kind of puzzling to me because like you had this guy who was a bona fide star, like the guy who's just he had crazy athletics. He had like the strength of fucking Mark Henry and a fucking like a small, frame, whatever. Like this dude could do and wrestle any kind of style that you wanted him to do. And like if I were to start a wrestling company tomorrow, he's the kind of person that I'd want to pick up for my company. It's just it makes no sense. One other thing that I was really thinking about while we're sitting here talking is the fact that he was out with an injury for 13 months, and you would think WWE would have added time to his contract. Because I mean, if this was AEW, there's no way, regardless if he was being used or not, there'd be no way that he missed 13 months of TV and they're not gonna fucking add time onto his contract.
Well, they clearly just see him as just a good pro wrestler. And that's always been my biggest fear with Ilya Dragunov. That's the thing, too. Like,
him and Gunther on the main roster is a fucking travesty.
That's what I was just going to add to it, because Gunther was the NXT UK champion for a record-breaking 870 days. And the guy who beat him for the championship was Ilya Dragunov. And we never got that one-on-one match on the main roster. And I thought there were so many opportunities where they could have done that, especially when Gunther was Intercontinental Champion. I think that was a huge missed opportunity there with Dragunov. But I saw this coming because last time the dude was on TV was going all the way back to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
That was his last time on TV. That was his last matchup.
And I knew the writing was on the wall as soon as Brock Lesnar buried his ass in the Royal Rumble. That's where all the seriousness, all the credibility, all those weeks of SmackDown building this character just went right into a waste can.
Yep.
It's so frustrating because here's the thing. If you've been a subscriber, if you've been listening to the pod, you know that I wasn't the biggest fan of Ilya Dragunov. I couldn't get behind him because I thought he was just another good wrestler. And there's a lot of people out there that are very talented wrestlers. We have some of the best athletes in the world right now. And I think this might be one of the best in-ring eras of professional wrestling. And Dragunov is one of those guys that can go out, work with anybody, and give you a classic. But you see, that's all there was to him. But you see, through the weeks of him being United States champion, and then him losing the title, telling Carmelo that he doesn't feel like he's worthy enough to go for the championship again, that made character into him. Showed that he lives with integrity, honor, respect. And you don't really get those organic styled.
He was really good at promos, man. He was really good at talking too.
But you see, like, you don't get those tough organic baby faces like that. And I think Ilya Dragunov, like, he started to really grow on me. But then that Royal Rumble happened. And that's where, like, I knew, like, regardless, like, if he were to come back on TV, if he was on there right now every week, he would still not be the same. Like, you should have made him look strong if you were going to have him go face-to-face with Brock. Not just Brock going, ah! And then freaking Ilya, ah! And then he throws him over the top rope.
Yep.
Like, they lost all credibility with him, and it really does break my heart because, like, I was really starting to get invested in him, and I was starting to see what you and Rage and Dan Eddie have been talking about for years with this guy. Because I've never discredited him for his in-ring abilities. Never. Because the dude can freaking walk circles around probably 75-80% of the wrestlers today. And maybe even in the past. But I just really wanted some in-depth character work with him. And they really started to give it to us. And then, like, next thing you know, like, now they're taking it away. And now I think everybody sees the writing on the wall here. I definitely think, especially if that contract is up, PW Insider confirmed the contract expired, which means, because there's a lot of people that were like, does he have to wait 90 days? And I think a lot of people do get confused about that. And if your contract expires, you don't have to wait the 90 days.
It's if you get released before your contract's up.
Exactly. If you're under contract and you get released, 90 days you have to wait. Unless
NXT is 30
NXT
days.
is 30.
Main roster is 90 days.
So with his contract expiring, becoming a free agent, he can show up to Wembley at All In. And that's my question to you. Do you think that he is going to debut in AEW?
I think he's going to AEW just because like that fits his fucking style more than anything else. I don't know if he's gonna show up at Wembley or if he's gonna show up at All Out and they're gonna like sort of like tease it for a little bit. Cause like what would he do on that show besides be, you know, one of the guest participants in the Battle Royal? And I feel like with the show taking place a week from now, that's a little bit too soon, and maybe they have all their plans set in stone right now. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he could always pull a CM Punk and come out at the end of the show, but like, I don't really feel like, and this is coming from a Dragunov fan, I don't feel like he's a big enough star for that to have a real impact. You know what I mean?
I do agree with you on that 100%. But I do think at the same time, putting him in there, that might help him get on TV immediately.
Yep.
Because Ricochet, that's how he made his AEW debut, was in that Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal, and he had a very good, strong look, and fans got excited. He got a big pop. And you're at Wembley, so like you are going to be in a way bigger audience than you normally are in your smaller arenas. So if there was a time to debut somebody and make them feel important, like they matter, I think All In is the perfect place to do it, because AEW, like, you always see it in the graphics, like, is all elite.
But
and
also,
that's always been a thing.
But also, like, I'm not saying he'll
Ilya
make much
going
of
to
it.
AEW All In proves like he's all in with AEW.
Yeah, but you also have to look at the fact that they're gonna have to save some stuff for All Out, because especially with, you know, AAA running, you know, the same city, you know, not that far distance apart from
who says they
AEW
can't?
All Out, and CM Punk being on the AAA show, you know, that's going to drive some, not all of traffic, but it's going to drive some traffic to watch the AAA show instead of All Out. So they're going to want to save some surprises and some big moments for that show. You know what I mean? It's just,
Dude, I could definitely see right now, like, they'll probably set up like a program with like him and somebody that'll be in that match. And I think maybe his first opponent, like his first like big singles match, will be at like All Out. And I could see it probably being against like somebody from the Death Riders.
him and Pac would be fucking insane, bro.
I think that's a match that might be one of his first matches. Because if you notice, a lot of people that like do.
But also, Ilya Dragunov works really good with fucking guys that are bigger. So like him and Claudio, I think would be a really good match.
Ooh, you know, okay, it would be cool to have him in the Casino Gauntlet, just as like that surprise factor, kind of like what you get in a Royal Rumble. But honestly, here's what I would do if I were to fantasy book this. I would have him show up after the triple threat match with Fletcher, Okada, and Takeshita. And I would have Fletcher retain the championship, and then I would have Elio come out, and I would have them go face-to-face. I think that's what I would do if I were booking AEW All In. Which I think will probably be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Because then, like, immediately, you're already setting up a big marquee match with Fletcher and Dragunov. And Fletcher was, like, one of the first people from the AEW roster to post something about, like, his match in the past with Elio back in, I believe, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'd be kind of cool if he goes after, like, the international title. Similar to, like, what he was doing with the U.S. title in WWE.
It's going to be definitely interesting to see what happens. You know,
I am definitely excited.
I'm a big fan of Ilya Dragunov, so if AEW does manage to lock a deal down with him, like, you know, that's a huge fucking get. And, you know, I will support Ilya wherever the fuck he goes.
Maybe it might get you back interested in the AEW product. In a way.
And Ilya Dragunov is not only a
thing.
great, you know, strong style wrestler, but He's
to what he
also
does.
he's also really good at promos. He's good at storytelling. You know what I mean? Like he was starting to show that a little bit more, and during the whole U.S. title thing. But
I will
it's
tell you
gonna
this
be
right now,
interesting.
Angelo. If they put him on the Don Callis family, I'm shutting my television off.
Bro, what did I say when we first found out that ILJA Dragunov was gone from WWE and potentially going to AEW? What did I say? I was like, they better keep him away from the Don Callis family.
I will turn my fucking television off, and I will not watch the rest of the episode.
Bro,
of whatever Dynamite they do that.
I'm not the only one that thinks this, because
Yes, I know.
everybody,
I saw JD from New York post it too.
every new person that goes to the AEW, bro, they end up mingled in this.
Yeah, because
fucking
Callis
Don
is going to
Callis
try to
vortex.
sway him into the family, but dude, I would love to see. Imagine Elio, like they try recruiting him, right? And Elio fucking uppercuts Don Callis and his fucking fake teeth come out.
Jeez.
Hits him with an uppercut, all the teeth just fly out.
That'd be wild.
That'd be nuts. But I do think, like, Helio Dragunov, though, is a perfect fit for AEW. Like, I don't think that there's a better fit for him because AEW is focused clearly on the professional wrestling side of it, the stuff that's happening in the ring. And Ilya Dragunov, that's what he's known for. He's a legitimate fighter in the ring. Wrestlers say he's one of the toughest guys in our generation. And I think if there is somebody like that, Tony Khan is trying to bring that vision, that combat-styled vision to AEW, and you're focusing more on the in-ring. A guy like Ilya Dragunov would do the job because he brings legitimacy. You're right about his
Have you seen
storytelling.
Have you seen some of his fucking training videos, bro? The dude's insane.
Yeah, but also, like, that's the thing, too, about, like, his legitimacy. He could tell a story in the wrestling ring. And that's what AEW kind of does a little bit more than what WWE
He's one of the best. He's one of the best sellers in the fucking business, bro. Like, he gets chopped, and you would think that the dude fucking got hit with a belt or something like that. Like, the dude just his facial features whenever he gets a move performed on him, like, it's insane. Like, he's one of the best sellers I've ever seen in my life.
100% agree. But, Daddy, is there anything else before we close off this week's episode of the pod that you want to plug or anything?
No, man, I'll be live tomorrow night for SmackDown, so make sure you guys please subscribe. I'm really close. I'm dangerously close to hitting 2,600 subscribers. I would love to be able to hit that number. So if you haven't subscribed to me on YouTube, I'll be live for SmackDown tomorrow, and I'll be live for Lockdown on Sunday. And then obviously we got a week of content next week as well. You know, Monday, Friday, and then we got All In the following Sunday. So it's gonna be crazy over on my channel. So make sure you guys subscribe.
Oh, and it's going to be crazy over on the We Are Wrestling channel as well. Lots of awesome content's going to be coming out next week with AEW All In. I am going to be reacting to SmackDown in live time because this weekend coming up, I am going to be out camping in the woods, nature. So my job after we go off the air, I have to put clips together, and I also have to get all my toy videos scheduled, uploaded, because I'm leaving Saturday morning. So Friday Night SmackDown, I'm going to try to get those reactions out in real time. I'm going to be watching it. So from the time SmackDown starts,
We got CM Punk defending the
so I'm
WWE
excited.
title against KO, man. It's going to be
those
big.
reactions will be coming out Friday night, probably a little bit later after SmackDown goes off the air. But, of course, AEW All In, We Are Wrestling will be doing a live watch-along for. And next week's episode of the pod, we don't know how it's going to go yet because we do have to see where schedules align. Because I do think if we do an AEW All In predictions on our main podcast, it does have to be you and I, because Rage is starting to get into it a little bit. Him and Dan Eddie have been trying to. But I do think if we were to do a all-in predictions, it's got to be you and I. Maybe we do that as an extra. We'll see how it goes next week.
Depends
We'll
on
talk
what
about it
news.
off air.
Depends on what news breaks next week. 'Cause you never
That's also
know.
another thing too, because if it's a crazy news week, like we probably will have to do that as an extra.
We can just fucking do a pre-recorded predictions video on Friday after SmackDown next week or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's also another thing too. And we'll find out next week on the We Are Wrestling podcast if Rod Buddy accepts Old School Phil's challenge for the Thunder Championship for AEW All In. But guys, hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Pod. If you did, smash that like button now. Hype this live stream up. Really helps with the algorithm. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac, you're already over on the YouTube page where you get the best pro wrestling content. We do have some snackable content here on the channel. Fanatic Fest Day 1, Day 2, and Day 3 vlogs that are out. So if you guys want to go check those videos out, you can right now. And of course, you get the live episodes of the pod every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And you guys killed it this week because we have 50 people from between X and YouTube, so we appreciate you guys. We recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. If you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, the audio listeners have been killing it as well. Please download this episode and give us a 5-star review because we're trying to get monetized with our audio episodes as well. But come over to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. Get the video version. It's free. It's a great experience. I think we have one of the most non-toxic IW wrestling communities out there. Links are down in the description box below. We Are Wrestling. We're posting daily wrestling news, clips, all that good stuff over on the social medias. So if you're not following us on Facebook, Instagram, X, or TikTok, go give us a follow. And Danny already plugged his watch-alongs and stuff. If you guys want to go check out my toy hunts, I do a studio update every week, showing you guys all the changes behind me. And it's a lot more than just this, what you see. I do figure reviews, toy hunts, all that good stuff. Recommend you guys to go check out the Best One Donnie YouTube channel. Link is down below. And even my merch store, where you can get yourself a Grind is Real shirt. And of course, ProWrestlingTees.com. We Are Wrestling is Unreal shirts available now. And other designs. And we will be dropping some fall stuff pretty soon too. So stay alert with that. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.